Bev's Video Kingdom is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Bev's Video Kingdom is brought to you by Red's Prison Contraband Service. Are you thinking of breaking out of prison, but you just don't have anything to hide your giant hole? Maybe you need a toothbrush to keep your breath extra fresh or your enemies extra stabbed. Did the guards just toss your cell and steal your burner? How are you going to call the shots from the hole?
Toss your salad.
Don't worry. Red's got you covered. With Red's Prison Contraband Service, we know how to get things, and we've got specials for 1, 2, or even 3 cigarettes, and we will hook you up in a timely fashion so that you can keep on prisoning the way that you have become accustomed. Red's Prison Contraband Service, where you get your things.
Dude.
Prisoning.
All that whole talk.
There's a lot of deep hole talk. I fucking love that.
Call them shots, man.
Top sphincter.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies, just a blind ride, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Nazak and Brad, your favorite podcast. Let's start this thing. Woo!
Welcome to Bev's Video Kingdom. Oh my God, I'm excited right now. I mean, this is, it wouldn't be too much to say that I basically have just been waiting to do this movie, and I'm pretty much ready to check out afterwards.
Are you going to quit? You're going to quit the podcast?
I'm going to literally pick my mic up and drop it on the ground, and then
out.
I'm going to walk away at the end of this one.
It's the mic drop?
It's the mic drop. So this is Nate, and this has been my favorite movie probably since it came out. And it's held up. It's meant different things to me at different times, but for me, it's a perfect movie.
What's it called?
I believe, so it's the Shawshank something, and I can never remember the second word.
Extension?
Exultation or
Flatulation?
Shawshank.
The Shawshank Redemption.
I watched Shawshank Erection. Was that the wrong one?
That's the sequel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
When they get to say,
I was gonna say it was like a beach and 2 guys. I was like, okay,
yeah,
well,
Zay Watanejo.
this is what Nate's into.
Zay Watanejo
That's
goes
how it
wild.
starts.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, they get done hugging, and then they go back up and cook up some tortillas, and they have their little ladies.
There's
with
just
them.
a lot of grease.
Yeah.
That's all I know. A lot of suntan lotion and grease.
Okay, so Shawshank Redemption, fellas, you all had different relationships with this movie.
Very different.
Some of you, I think, liked it a lot. So, Nikki, you love this movie.
I'm right there. It's been one of my favorite movies since
Yeah.
I saw it as well.
Zach, you said earlier that you were like, I love this movie, but I haven't seen it in a really long time.
So this movie was like one that I saw on like cable, I think, or something along those lines. It was like it was on something, maybe like a free HBO day or something like that. And I really haven't thought about it since. The first time I thought about it since I watched it was when I started to become friends with Nate, and he was like super dorked up about it, and I was like,
that's kind of pejorative, but okay.
Ew,
So-
this guy's a dork.
he was super dorked up about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, that movie is good. Like, I liked that movie. Never thought to watch it again.
So and then this is it. You watched it a couple days ago.
I watched it today.
Okay.
I finished it 20 minutes before we got here, and I was
pulling one of me.
floored.
You're
I
pulling
was
one of
like,
mine.
dude, I was on my third screen, bro. While pooping, I was just like, fucking,
It's on
dude,
brand.
Crying,
That checks out.
crying.
walking down that beach while freaking pinching a loaf.
And while you're saying this guy's a dork, I mean, we do have to say that he has the movie poster
Yeah.
out here. He has a piece of the tree.
Yeah, so I'll put up some pictures on the socials, but so I have for years, I mean decades, I've had the movie poster hanging at times in my bedroom, in my garage, in my office. It currently hangs above. It's the only thing, basically. It and 2 guitars hang above my desk in my office at home. And then a few years ago, my family, my wife and my kids got me a piece of so the tree that's featured in the movie that is sort of the big oak tree that is significant at the end. It was struck by lightning and split in half, and then the rest of it fell over. This is maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and so it was privately owned. So the people that owned the tree were like, "Well, we're going to make some bank," and so they started slicing little tiny pieces of the tree and then like burning in little images. And so they got me this one that says, it has a picture of the front of the Shawshank prison. It says the Shawshank Redemption, crafted from the famous oak tree in the 94 film. And then it has a picture of the oak tree on the wall. And then the quote, "Get busy living or get busy dying, Andy Dufresne." And it's like it's pretty rough. Like it's sort of a nice finish on the front, but feels like a tree on the outside. So that also hangs below my movie poster. So yes, I would say it's fair to say I dork out.
And he's got a
this
shirt
movie.
on right now too.
And I have a shirt. And my wife got me a shirt that says Dufresne and Redding fishing charters, Zeewatenahomic. So yeah, I'd say I'm decked out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brad though, so we've talked about this on our previous pod, but Brad and I have been best friends for, going on nearly 40 years now. Certainly in high school when this came out, and certainly in the years afterwards when I was like a full-on geek about it. And I was like, "Brad, you're my best friend. We both really like movies. Could you maybe watch my favorite fucking movie of all time?
I'll watch it with you.
I'll bring the DVD to your house," which I did, and leave it. And how many years would you say it stayed at your house?
That question, and yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm not exactly sure. I had that DVD for a long time, and like I said, I think I said it in the last pod where when you asked for it back, I just felt like total shit. I was like, man.
You know what? I'm glad you felt like shit.
And the weird thing about this is it wasn't. I don't think it was a stubbornness or anything. I just never sat down and watched it. Like if I was about to start to watch them, I'm going to watch this right now. And I never was sitting there thinking, and then like, oh, there's Shawshank. I should watch that. Like I don't know why I didn't do it. I have no real. I have one thing I can say, and we'll get to that later. But there's one thing that I could say that maybe kept me from it, but I should have watched it.
So are you and Nate now best friends, and now is it official?
I mean, I don't know.
We've nearly shared everything.
This might be the last thing. Yeah,
I'm happy to be here.
Best friends.
we just become best friends.
We just become best.
Okay, so I've been. I mean, it's not hyperbole to say that I've been waiting, I guess, around probably close to 25 years to hear the answer to this question. Brad, what did you think of Shawshank Redemption?
Well, first off, I texted them or 2 nights ago when I finished the movie, and I said, "Guys, I finally watched Shawshank," and I said it only took me. It's like 6 years longer than Andy was in prison, and just like 12 years less than Red was in prison. So
Checks out.
that's how long it took me to watch that movie, which is, man, that's a long time. When you think about it in the movie terms, that's a fucking really long time, which is ridiculous.
I mean, it came out in '94, right?
Right.
Oh my God.
We were
Tim
high
Robbins,
schoolers. We were
Morgan
just
Freeman.
dumb, snot-nosed high schoolers running around, and somehow all the movies like Good Will Hunting and like Mallrats you got me into, like all that shit that you turned me on to, I loved.
Yeah, and this one was the blind spot. So tell me, what did you think of Shawshank Redemption?
I mean, it's a classic American film. I mean, you cannot argue anything more than it's just a pure film that's well done from start to finish. And I'll have some more comments a little bit later, just about kind of what happened with me as far as watching it.
Okay.
But like as far as the enjoyment of it, yeah, we watched it with the family. Obviously, it's a little rough in some parts, but for the most part, it's just got a great message of hope, a great message of the human spirit, and it's tough to argue against any of those types of movies because it's going to be if you don't feel something after watching this movie, there's problems with you.
Yeah, it's definitely one that like you end. So you said you watched it with your family. I watched it with my son, who's 16, and he'd never seen it, right? And he's walked by my office a million times, seen the poster and all this. And he's not a big movie guy. Like he's sort of just not his jam. And he sat there with me and watched it the whole way through, and by the end was like on the edge of a seat. And it was one of a really cool and kind of unexpected moment. I didn't anticipate watching it with him.
That's awesome.
Just happened to be that we were together today, and I was like, well, let's put it on, and so he watched it, and we watched the last 45 minutes sitting together on a real screen, not my phone. And it was a really cool moment where I could see him just jacked about it and kind of like dig it the way that I think I did at that age probably. So okay, so what you guys
I was just gonna say that like your son is so into history and right around this time period that this was going on, right? Or stuff that was going on in the world right around that time. I bet it was pretty interesting to him.
Yeah, he definitely, the first thing you know, he's like, okay, wait, so this is in the 40s. He's a big World War II guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he definitely had some context in that way, which I think kind of drew him in a little bit. He also, the way he puts it, he's like, I like movies that kind of get right to the point. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like a pretty kind of a slow burn. But I think for him, it was like, it got you right into the prison and right into the setting that the whole movie was going to take place in, and then it moved you through things. And I never thought of it that way, but like from his perspective, it got going right away, right? And it is in that way, it's a reasonably well-paced movie. It does not like get slow. It's not a slow starter in that sense.
One thing I will say that I can understand why it's so well liked, and in that same vein of like a lot of like good classic sports movies, it's that underdog mentality, that being beaten down, but you're going to overcome the odds. Like, I mean, it's got all those elements of like a sports movie that really you start to. I mean, you're rooting for them. You want them to get out. You're like, this is an injustice. Da 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 da. And so it's got a lot of that same type of thing going on with like some of the best sports movies.
Well, and it delivers at the end. That's the biggest thing. All best sports movies, they give you what you want at the end. And from
Jordan hits the shot. Jordan hits the shot at the end, just like in this movie. Like,
Exactly. But I mean, as far as I geeked out on this movie too. I saw it. Did you see it, Nate? Like when it came out, like not too long, like that year.
Yeah. So I would have been. I would have been 15, 16 in that range, and so I'm almost sure I saw it in the theater.
Okay.
And I don't have like a vivid memory of seeing it in the theater, but I'm pretty confident that I did, and I liked it right away. I think like it took a few years and a few watches for me to be like, oh, this is my movie.
So I saw it. I didn't watch it till I think it was like the college years when I'm just like cranking through movies. Like didn't have time, whatever, sports, whatever in high school, and then you get to college and. My roommate, Dave, who's been on, like we just dug movies, so we would just turn on whatever. I think it was in college, and I geeked out on it. I was an art major, and so
first watch, you loved it.
Loved it, yeah, immediately. And I was at like the perfect age to just take it all in and soak it all up, and geeked out so much. So like my senior year, it was my last year of football. I tore my ACL. Fourth game of the season, and my football career was over at that point. But I had played, enough years. But definitely went through a phase of feeling sorry for myself and like just pissed off and saying fuck it. And so for my senior project, it was a collection of paintings, and I was into all of this crazy kind of symbolism and kind of graffiti-esque type characters. One of which I created just this. They were all dark paintings. There's a dude sitting on a chair. I had issues with I wasn't good at I was learning computers at the time. There was a little computer with he's holding this gun. He had shot out the screen. There's all these little pieces, and there's smoke coming out of the gun, but then there's a wire from the gun back into the computer. He looks like he hasn't eaten, like he's all sunken in this dark room, red carpet or red wall. Chicken scratch, I would write chicken scratch with charcoal on the wall, all this different symbolism. There's like a guy giving the bird. Anyways, they're dark paintings. Scott's seen all of them.
Scott,
I've seen the one you're
Beck's
talking
here in the studio. He's nodding vigorously.
Yeah, I mean they're amazing pieces, even as twisted and fucked up as they look.
Yeah, they're fucked up. And my parents for a portion of time were worried about me, and I ended up being okay. Long story short, I was geeking out on Shawshank. The name of the painting, I took it. It's called Get Busy Living or Get Busy Dying.
Oh, I love that.
And that's the name of it. And it had to do with feeling sorry for myself as far as a section of your life kind of being over and okay, I'm done. I got my ass reamed by my professor because I was kind of dragging my feet on the senior project, and he kind of got on my ass, and it just snapped me out of it. What am I doing? Just get your shit together and just go. What am I doing?
So one of the things that I wanted to comment about here, and one of the things I love about the pod, and I guess I kind of want to ask each of you this question, but I watch, I'm a longtime movie fan, and I really when I see a movie and I like it, and I don't even think I'm as much as I'm a sort of over analytical person in a lot of ways, I actually don't ask very many questions to myself about why I like what I like in movies, until for some reason the pod I always okay, so why do I like this movie? What is it, or why do I not like it in some cases? And in some cases, right, why I like it is reveals disturbing things about me. I love Actually pod, but but this one, one of the things I realized in terms of it being my favorite across, it was probably my favorite. I would have said it was my favorite when I was 20, and I'm 42. And I think you could, and certainly I checked in on this, I probably watched this once a year at least since then. And so I was asking myself, like, why do I love this movie? And the answer for me in some ways was like dependent on when, the most important reason was dependent on like what part of my life I was in, but it has something and it speaks to me differently. So like, Nick, you're talking about this period where you're feeling really like, down on yourself and really kind of like sorry for yourself. Well, there's something there, right? There's something in this movie. There's a period of this movie. There's a part of this movie that speaks to that. For me, like, it was almost like there were really different things. Like on the one hand, I think a big part of it was like the way I see it now, the way I saw it then was I loved the like hope.
Yes.
And the like dreams of it. Like he never kind of gave up. And I think at a younger time in my life that would have resonated. But now what I see in the movie is that like his whole life had to completely crash down in his case for him to figure out who he really was, right? Like he has to lose everything and go to prison and be in the worst circumstance to kind of like be the phoenix and rise from the ashes and be something kind of very different than the life he was before, right? What it for him was to be successful and be alive and aspire to things were not the things that he imagined before he went to prison, right? So for me, I see that and I'm like, yeah, that's my thing, right now. But I bet in 20 years I'll still love this movie for a different reason. So like, what do you really loved it, Zach? Like, what do you think moved you about it?
So the most moving part of the movie for me is the old librarian Brooks when he gets out of prison and when he lets the bird go out the window and then talks later on about how he just goes and feeds the birds.
He keeps hoping Jake's going to show up.
He never does, and he goes and he ends up killing himself. And man, it is just so fucking brutal and bleak. And I loved when Red gets out and he is like, I think about, getting a gun and trying to go back or ending everything, ending things, you know what I mean? But I think that that's a real thing when he's talking about being institutionalized. It's I want to pick our guest's brain about like that aspect of spending so much time, and then when you finally get out and the world is kind of moved on without you, and you might. It's kind of like. Every time that I have something that I'm looking forward to, I always think to myself, like, this is how it's going to be. Like this, I have this picture in my head of what it's going to be, and it's never that. And sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. But I just think of these people in prison, and they have to be, I mean, this is before TV, right? So they couldn't really see what was going on outside. But then once they get there, I just wonder how that compared to like what they pictured it would be like when they got out and what it actually was. That's really like a crazy concept to me. So I think it's super interesting.
Well, and just a quick note on like one of the perversities, like I a lot of times in a lot of contexts, I think of this quote from Creed, the character in The American Office. At the very end, I think it's in the last episode, he says like, people have this very strange way of like making wherever they're at home. And in a perverse way, right? Like that's kind of the deal here, right? Too is like, you sometimes make places home that are real shit, and then you miss the shit when you leave it, right? And like that's some of what Zach's talking about.
Well, it's part of survival, right? And the way that there's two ways of looking. There's the way Andy looks at it and the way it's read, and they both are looking at. Andy looks at in his opinion, for survival you need hope, and Red did his time and was able to get
the
through
only
his
way to
decade
survive is to not have the hope.
The absence of hope.
Yeah, the hope makes it worse when you're.
Yeah,
there's no way of getting out.
Can't do the time with
you
the
have
hope.
to accept it. And just
Well, and it's like you're caught in this really interesting position of like totally getting both Red and Andy's perspective on this, and being like, man, I can see where both of you are coming from. Yeah. So Brad, if you had to say like, to the extent that you really liked this movie, what did you like? Like what resonated with you?
I enjoyed it, but like I said, what it does is it just brings me back to the prison system. Every time Red goes up for parole, and it's the idea of like, what is rehabilitation? And his little his speech at the end is the part that probably resonates the most with me. Is just the idea of young men that make mistakes when they are still in their late teens or early 20s, and they get into some messed up shit and they do something messed up. And not saying that the things that they do shouldn't have consequences, but it's like, what is the point of when you put somebody in prison for 40 years? Like what are we accomplishing here? Like what is the point that's being made? Because when they come out, I mean the recidivism of inmates is it's so high because when they come out, there's so many just things going against them for them to go back to a normal life in society. It's like the punishment lasts well beyond whatever the term of their prison sentence is.
So you saying recidivism reminded me of something. So I got to know this guy. His name is Scott Budnick, who he was the executive producer for the Hangover movies. And so I know him a little bit in sort of my other profession, and he got super into, kind of by happenstance, prison reform and these sorts of things, and founded something called the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. And so I follow him on social media, and I occasionally run into him and talk to him about stuff and hear him talk about this stuff. And it is crazy to hear, like, to hear some of the stories along the lines you're talking about where people make mistakes. I mean, the kids make mistakes, and the mistakes are actually kind of minor. Like they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they're with the wrong crowd at 15, and they're tried as adults, and they're in for life, or then for 25 years. And so that is, when you think about it, like it does showcase that stuff in a really, in a way that's pretty raw, right? That doesn't allow it to be caricatured very much, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and then like I said, that aspect of it for me, working where I do with I've seen a lot of young people who have been in victims as well as committing some pretty horrific crimes. Just knowing that that's what they're in for, it's super disheartening and sad.
Yeah. So a couple other things I was going to note. So this movie comes out at a time when there are just it is amongst some crazy
monsters.
Great movies. So
it came out.
It comes out in '94, and so it's up for Best Picture in '95. And here are the nominees: Four Weddings and a Funeral, which is probably the second weakest. So Quiz Show's the weakest, I think, of the
Right.
group. And it's a great movie. I mean, like in a lot of years, it would be totally legit, but it's the weakest, I think. I think Four Weddings and a Funeral is a better movie, and especially for someone that likes rom-coms, it's great. Then you've got the murderers row, right? You've got Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, and Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Forrest Gump takes it, right?
Right.
Yeah, they cleans up.
But I mean, there are plenty. Let's just set Forrest Gump aside. There's plenty of people that would argue that Pulp Fiction and Shawshank are two of the best 10 movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And probably people would argue Forrest Gump is, although I would disagree with them on that.
Yeah,
but
that's changed for me now.
Is that Tarantino's only Best Picture nomination? Besides, I think his newest one did.
No, yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right,
Yeah,
but
for
besides that was the only one, right?
Hateful Eight get anything?
Since they've expanded
Hateful
to
Eight
10,
was
I
up
don't
for
know.
things, but not.
I'm surprised that Inglourious didn't get nominated. If it didn't, it might have.
I know that Christoph Waltz won Best Actor.
Yeah,
but I don't
so he's
think-
gotten some play there.
So it was
but-
probably nominated for Best Picture. I bet it was. Okay, so you're right. You're
Ziggy
right.
the
You're naming
intern will
some.
find out for
Yeah,
us.
look that shit up, Zig.
So here's the other thing that I kind of don't want to that I didn't mention, but like resonates with me a lot in this movie that I think I saw more this time than I've seen in any other watch. Even maybe the last time I watched it a year or two ago, is that Andy finds meaning and it's not that he finds meaning in things, but he recognizes that he has to create things that have meaning, whether or not they're actually meaningful. So the library project for some reason hit me in a really weird way because I've been kind of at a point in my life, and Bevs is a version of this for me, right? Like we all kind of created Bevs as a thing that's fun because we're friends and we do it, but we pour a lot into Bevs. And part of the reason that I do is because it's a point point in our lives where it's I want to have something that I'm trying to build and do and create and put a lot of effort and energy into, whether or not that's, the stakes in some ways, right, in an objective sense are pretty low for this. But for me, right, it feels like a place for me to put some ambition. And for Andy, right, there's these, all along that the prison or that the library and different iterations of it, and it starts with this great scene on the roof, right? He has to have some ambition, so he becomes the tax guy for the guards, right? Which is such a perverse thing. And then the library kind of grows out of that. But he also, all the while, right, his ambition is to escape prison, which you don't know. But that also, right, this other track that for me, there was this persistence and this long game payoff where he's able to say, I'm doing something meaningful all the time that could have a huge consequence. So I for me, that's also a huge, huge part of what draws me to it now when I watch it. Okay. So what else, any other thoughts before, because we're going to do a kind of a special drinking with the director. We're going to pivot away from Frank Darabont, who I'm sure we would have lots of questions for. And we got a friend of the pod, Mike, that's going to come on. and he's going to talk to us about Shawshank and also his experience with the prison system, and so it's going to be an awesome interview. But any final thoughts that are kind of separate from that before we jump there?
One thing that I kind of found interesting about the movie is you have the initial, like, obviously the worst of the worst with is it Hobbs? Boggs. There you go, Boggs. Yeah. So Boggs comes in,
sister,
and he and the sisters are doing their thing, and then they get taken out of the picture, and then from that point on, I was just like, are all the like good-natured convicts all just hanging out together? Like, because it seems like everybody's good-hearted, and like they obviously tell their stories like, oh, everybody in here is innocent, blah blah blah, but it's like almost makes it seem like prison's not too bad. You're just hanging out with a bunch of buddies, and it's pretty good times.
Well,
like,
I think the dynamic changed a lot once Andy, helped out with
got himself in with the guards and everything.
With the guards, and then I think that kind of made Andy. He got him the beers, and so that kind of changed. So I think that whole group kind of changed that dynamic. So that kind of, and then that's all you see. That's all we're kind of focused on. Right. So maybe, that's. To me, that's why I think it might have changed.
And the thing about, like, they handle time in a nice way. Like, you don't know how much time, like, Red talks about Andy's routine, and, prison's about routine, and that was Andy's routine for a while. You don't know how much time's gone by in that stretch. And part of me feels like he just had to be there and got to put his time in to kind of work his way in with the friends, whether it was the rooftop, getting that in or something. I think as time went on, he would have, worked his way in, but the beers and the suds.
They did a really cool thing with time with Andy. If you guys noticed, but like as he's going along, obviously the hair changed a little bit. But then at first he's looking at something, he's kind of can't see it as well, and then later on he's got glasses on, so you kind of start seeing these little clues of him getting older.
Without telling you, or
exactly.
without get too much on the nose. That's a really good point. All right. Anything else you guys?
I guess my thing was that I just hadn't seen this for so long, and man, it's super emotional movie. I was really captivated by a bunch of it, super into it. My kids were kind of coming in and out, and they didn't catch anything like super inappropriate. There's nothing super duper bad towards the end of this movie, and they were kind of getting sucked into it too. They were real interested in what was going on, and my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, comes through and she's like, "Daddy, do they have prison for kids?" And I was like,
yeah. I was to clean your fucking room.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely use that as an opportunity to threaten her. But
it's called. Never mind.
Was she thinking it was like they were all hanging out having fun?
No, I think she was scared. I think she was I know like, that looks scary. It looks dark. Okay. It's like raining. Yeah, like I don't want to go there. But man, it really resonated with me too, because I had I'll get to it in my streaming recommendation, but I had just watched a very similar thing that really resonated with me, and this is like not a ripoff of that, but like the two are very intertwined. So I'll come back to that. But
and really quick, just because I didn't get it, I just talked about my geek out college story, but just really quick, I love that. I know Nate, how long Nate's been waiting for this, and I was so excited to watch it. It had been forever. The idea, everything from the acting, and looking at it now, it almost reminds me it deals with heavy stuff for sure, but it never goes too far that way. Brooks is, that he's in there, been in there for a long time. He's ready to, cut what's his name's like throw. It just gives you these little pearls, and him committing suicide is almost as dark as it gets visually, like the images, but it's almost pieced together like there's sequences, almost like a play. Almost, it feels like a play. The group of his buddies, their convening moments feel like these little scenes within a play, in the conversation. It's kind of lighthearted. Everything from the opera singer over the intercom. And then obviously like what prison movies make you think about, and they make you appreciate, what you have, especially when it's spoken of, and framed in the way of Andy's story, wrongfully accused, and what that must be, because I've, in the last year and a half during COVID, watched some documentaries on wrongfully imprisoned people, and those are just, that's just one of the most horrifying, horrible, nightmarish scenarios you can actually think of, as being wrongfully, imprisoned, and for how long so many people are today. It's an unbelievable thing to think of.
But is he that upset? like he's not really that mad until he finally gets the alibi and is like, oh, like this is what happened, and like now I'm like super gung ho about it. Like I guess he has no recourse. There's nothing he can do about it. And I guess he's accepted that, but at the same time, I feel like there was no like, I am innocent. You know what I mean? Well, is that the movie's designed to not let you know whether he did it or not?
By getting rid of his wife and not having any kids, I think they kind of like take away that like ultimate thing that he's trying to like grasp and get back to. Like I think that changes. Like if he's got kids on the outside, there's probably a whole different situation that he's.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the point, right, for me, the thematically is right. They make it unclear whether or not like he feels like he's lost anything that he wouldn't have lost by being on the outside, right? Like he loses his wife, and you don't know whether or not he liked his job. He's clearly probably good at it, but he kind of describes himself as a bit of a cold person, and like
and everybody's describing. They're trying to make you see like immediately from the judge to the lawyer your icy personality, what he said his wife, how his wife felt about him. They're trying to make you like understand this character has a problem expressing himself.
Maybe he's on the spectrum a little bit or something, or he's like he has like Asperger's or something. No, I'm not joking at all. Like, but you know what I'm saying, to where like
an Asperger's
he's
character.
like high functioning some sort of like emotional disconnection, to where he just doesn't have like the ability to be like remorseful. I mean, you know what I mean?
He also doesn't want to bring. Sure. He also is so intelligent, and he knows that if he brings attention to himself, he starts trying to escape early. Like if you think about it, when he actually started to dig the tunnel,
when he gets the rock hammer, and then they kind of on purpose don't talk about it again until the very end.
Exactly. Right. So he had a plan from the start. He was out. Like he knew he was fucked because he's in double murder. He's in for life. 2 life sentences. Like he's done.
I mean, this is one of the questions I have though. Is like and this kind of gets to my point about the having something that's meaningful, even if it's not meaningful, is. He starts digging that tunnel. He has no idea what's on the other side. Right? You know what I mean? Right. So like there's part of me that's also like he's digging that tunnel because that's like the tunnel is hope for him, but it's not certainty. It's not a project that he knows there's anything on the other side of the wall.
So there's no scene where he gets like the plans of the prison in the library or anything, which is
and I love that because again, like I think that you're supposed to think like he's like fuck it, man. What else am I going to do?
Well, you got the double life sentence. What do you have to lose?
What are you going to do? What are you going to lose? Yeah, they're not, and you're in a prison where they're not going to like throw you in solitary for very long because
his position in the prison is he's not happening if he's not in that corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's not in that corner, he's not.
Yeah. So he just really lucked out, is what you guys think. Like he had no idea what was behind that wall, and he just happened to luck out.
So I think it's probably a combo. Like you got to think that over that time he did some things to try to figure out basically where that was. He knows he's on the end. He's not. But he's not
going to dig into like the guards but I'm hang out.
Saying there'd be no reason for him to know that like there wasn't an obstacle that was just. Made it impossible.
Be impenetrable.
Well, he had a lot of access that a lot of other guys didn't.
Fair point.
He had the library. He was in the warden's office, so like he could have. And I'm not going to show you that in the movie. It'd ruin the whole
because it would give it away, right? Yeah. So that's why I think they probably don't show him being super like I didn't do it, because then it would give away whether we think he did it or not, because they don't tell you, right? Yeah. He stops before he goes into the house, and you don't know what happens. You just know they end up murdered.
You don't know he didn't do it until the other guy comes in,
and his icy like demeanor kind of is the part that pushes you to like maybe he did do it, and he's just like kind of a crazy person.
Brad, did you
I've got
know
things to say in alternate?
Did you know anything about at this point? Did you know anything about the prison break, the spoilers?
Well, considering that the blurb and Scotch is the one who says hide your eyes when you see the little blurb, it says a wrongfully accused man right in the blurb. I'm like, okay, so he didn't do it. Fuck. I think that would probably change a little bit about my feeling about the movie if
so. I don't remember ever thinking he didn't do it. I mean that he did it. Like I don't. It may have been the first watch. I was like, that was a surprise, but maybe I've seen it.
When I watched it this time, I feel like the filmmaker definitely leaves it ambiguous enough to where you're questioning yourself. Maybe he did do it, and I had seen the movie before, and I was still like, he seems kind of guilty.
Because Tommy's reveal doesn't do much unless you still kind of believe that maybe he didn't do it.
It doesn't do anything if you don't think he did it. You're like, oh yeah, here's a guy, or you're just excited. You're not really like stunned. You're just excited because you're like, oh, he's going to get out now.
The reveal, though, I mean, but from my perspective, it's the trigger that moves the plot to the climax, right? It's that it's not so much the reveal to the audience as it is that it's a potential avenue for him to get out under like legal means, and that it becomes clear to him that that's never going to be allowed to happen, right? So,
but he's already been digging his hole for like 20 years at that point.
But that was
right?
the
But because I think he assumes at that point that there is no potential for legal means.
So you're of the mind that he didn't start digging the hole right then. Like he
I think he started digging the hole immediately.
So you think he started digging the hole the minute he got that rock hammer in the post?
But this is part of my point is like I think he starts digging the hole thinking like partly like, well, maybe this is an escape route, but also partly being like, it's kind of fun to dig a fucking hole. I mean, when I was a kid, I dug some holes. I just like digging a hole. Facts. I mean, you got a long time. I love a hole.
I like digging a hole.
After watching Frailty, I didn't like digging holes.
All right, guys. So we're going to move on to our Drinking with Mike section. We will be back in just a minute. All right. We are at our Drinking with the Director, but we are going to drink with our special guest. The Drinking with the Director is always sponsored by Last Call Brewing, who brewed some delicious BVK IPA with us. So there's like a few cans left, probably, maybe if you're lucky. Go beg them at the tap. Go beg Jake at the tap room.
Hit them up quick because they are definitely running out, and people are going down there and they're mad that they're out. They don't have it any longer on draft, and now they're getting the cans. So get down there and get some of that.
Yeah, and you know what? All their beer's good. So go hang out at Last Call. They always have good food trucks. They have cool events.
All open every day now. They are open on Tuesdays.
Oh, wow.
Tuesdays used to be closed. They are open. They just opened their first Tuesday last week, so they are good to go.
Nice.
So we love us some Last Call. And what are we all drinking?
I'm drinking the Last Call BVK IPA. Nate's. I think we got our last keg hooked up.
We got the last keg. We blew the first one pretty fast. So
dude, it's just so delicious. It's so delicious.
There's a lot of positive feedback.
Shout out to the Hoist and Heavy guys who I listened to their latest podcast, and what did they say about us on there, Brad? It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, they were at the Last Call. They did a little tap room takeover, and they were recording down there live, and they were talking about. They actually went through the entire board. They did a tasting of the entire board, but they talked about that BVK IPA, and they said they really enjoyed that beer. So
They said we should be proud.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, blood, sweat, and tears, like we said, all into that mash.
And if you're somebody that likes beer, you got to listen to Hoist and Heavies because they're the fucking experts on all the good microbrews around, especially if you're in the Valley. But if you're anywhere and you like hearing talk about beer, you got to get in with those guys. They're fun. Their podcast is funny. It's cool. It's interesting. So definitely jump over there. We're thinking about doing a collab with them at some point soon.
Yeah, we got to just make the hook. We got to make the hookup one of these days. Maybe a little meeting down at Last Call, share some heavies and get a conversation going.
So long story really short, I went on Saturday. My wife and I went to Last Call. We walk in. Jake greeted us like we were long lost cousins. He was like just the nicest dude on the planet. It was so awesome. We were talking to him, chopping it up a little bit. Bought a bunch of beer and then got some beers and had some beers in the place. And while we're sitting there, Jake comes over and talks to us and he's like, "Hey, the Hoist and Heavies guys they're right there." And they're like driving by and they have this big like truck with a big like gardening it's like a gardening trailer behind it. And I'm like, oh. And they pull around and they just start pulling out all this podcast equipment, getting all their stuff set up. And they're like,
their shit looks better than ours.
They were like real serious and like real serious looking dudes. And I was super intimidated and I was like, I should totally go say hi to those guys right now. And I walked out of that place like a little bitch. Did not say hi at all. So, hey, shout out to the Hoist and Heavies guys. I should have said what's up to you guys. I saw you guys getting all set up to do your pod. And goddamn it, I didn't say a fucking word.
I met Ed and you know what? They would have just welcomed you and like, brother, totally how you doing? Yeah. They probably would have got you a beer. It would have
had you on the pod, you dipshit.
It was an intense like 4 seconds in my mind where I was like, should I go say hi to these guys? Oh no, they're like setting up their equipment. They look like they're really just I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, hoisting heavies, all wherever you get your pods, wherever you listen to BVK, you finish one of our episodes, jump on the hoisting heavy guys.
Yeah. Hey, so Brad, are you drinking the BVK?
Oh, you know this.
And
100%.
Nick, I feel kind of proud that I think I've got a convert here because Nick,
me and Scotch.
I think Nick and Scotch both are drinking diet with grenadine. I just want to point out that that's a majority of the BVK crew.
Your sobriety reeks of grenadine. It's fucking terrible.
Fucking delicious.
We'll see how those opinions go later.
I'm not happy.
All right. So Zach, you want to introduce our guest here?
Yeah, so Nate's favorite movie of all time is the Shawshank Redemption. And so we decided, hey, we've got like our 49th and 50th episodes coming up. What's like a really big, like cool movie that we could do for that? And so Nate's just like, he took his mic and dropped it and was like, we're going to do Shawshank, right? My favorite movie of all time. Like, I don't even think you've seen this, Mike, but he's got the poster of the movie. This is from the tree, from the movie. The tree fell down and Nate has a piece of it.
Yeah, engraved.
And
I've seen the poster.
The internet says that that's real.
Yeah,
So-
well, they charged like it was real.
So, anyways, we got together. This was at the beginning of December, and we were trying to make a schedule for the rest of the thing, and we were trying to think of like cool and interesting people that we could have on as guests, right? And so we were talking about Shawshank, and I was like, you guys, I have the perfect dude that I literally talk to every day, and a lot of our conversations eventually come back to this, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. Like, so my coworker Mike, I started working with you like 12 years ago, something like that. Yeah.
Yep,
So we've been working together for about 12 years. Literally every day we get along really well, but we mostly get along really well because Mike fucking works his ass off and is just a super reliable, super dependable dude. And I worked with Mike for a couple of years before I knew any of your backstory or anything.
It was a big secret.
It was a big secret.
It had to be a secret.
It was a big secret. But anyways, finally we became friends and we started talking about some of these things. And Mike's just got a really interesting perspective on a lot of this stuff. And so I said, you guys, we got to get this guy on. So anyways, I asked Mike if he wanted to do it. He was like, yeah. And one of the interesting things that I thought that you said, Mike, is you said in the moment, you were like, yeah, I would love to do that because, there's a lot of stuff that people think that happens and people just don't really know what's going on.
In prison.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like
in
prison. Exactly. So I'm gonna let Nate kind of ask you some questions and kick the mic to you, and I'm excited to hear a lot of these stories again, and maybe some stuff I haven't heard.
So Mike, first of all, I also want to say thanks for coming on, and I mean it's kind of an interesting thing, right? Because you're a natural instinct initially, like when Zach mentioned he was going to ask you, it's like a sensitive topic, right? Like,
Yes.
you spent time in prison, which presumably was at least in part very unpleasant, and it reflects a part, like lots of people would feel, I think, uncomfortable talking about that. And when Zach, like he said, no, Mike was like, yeah, I want to talk about it because people need to know how it is. And so it's cool of you to come on and be willing to kind of have a really like straight up and honest conversation with us about it. And obviously, fun in the context of the movie to get to kind of have some perspective for us and maybe more importantly for our listeners. So tell us a little bit about how, like, what sort of your path was that eventually led you to be in prison.
Okay, well, when I was really young, my family was not united, okay? So, my dad didn't want to accept that I was his son, and my mom was just doing her fucking thing. So I come from a really messed up background family.
Okay.
And it started off being super hyperactive, so they put me on medication. And when the medication was too much, my mom says, okay, that's way too much stuff for my son. Well, that right there started my addiction, okay? So now I'm looking for some upper or downer or something to change the way I feel about myself. And then I found methamphetamine.
So how old are you at this point?
14, 15.
Okay.
I have 2 older brothers and an older sister.
Okay.
They're partying, they're doing the stuff, so that's where I can get my hands on it.
Right.
In the early 90s, I came back from San Diego, and I had no place to go, so I went to the streets, and that's where I found the drugs. And then once I found the drugs, I found people that needed people to move the drugs. And you make a lot more money by moving something if you can move a lot of it and not get caught.
Right.
So for 5-6 years, I was running dope for people.
What kind of drugs are we, like the whole range?
No, just methamphetamine.
Just meth. Okay.
Just meth. That was it.
Okay.
Because in this area, that's kind of what reigns supreme.
Okay.
Really, because it's easy, quick to make.
Right.
So in '96, when I caught my first term, I'd already been to county jail twice.
Okay.
But those were just overnight. You know what I mean? Like bail out of a car, leave the car in the orchard, fucking run, get caught 5 miles away, but they don't know I was in that car, so they can't prove it.
Right.
So I sit a night in jail, I get out.
Stolen car?
No.
Oh, you were just
But
The cars were all legal, legit. tagged license, okay? And they would have packages wrapped in the back, just like I was a fucking UPS driver up today. Only difference, there'd be 5-6 pounds of dope back there.
Right.
And I'm going to certain places and I'm dropping it off. I'm not doing nothing else. I'm not collecting money. I'm not seeing nobody. I'm just dropping stuff on. I'm dipping. Okay, if the cops get behind me, my job is to not get caught or seen in that car. You know what I mean? So no matter what happens, I got to get away. And however if I got to crash the car into the orchard, that's what the deal is. Because they can get the car as long as they don't catch me. Well, we knew people inside the tow companies. We could just get the car back without anything ever being touched.
Wow.
Okay, well, the one time that we can't get the car back, the stuff gets touched. I'm already in there, and they finally put 2 and 2 together after about 4 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You just can't.
So you catch your first sentence in '96, and where did you go, and for how long were you in?
So I got sentenced to 3 years, and I went to Tehachapi State Prison.
Okay. So give us I mean, in the hierarchy of prisons, right? We can kind of hear about like, you know, maximum security and minimum security, and they're saying, well, what kind of prison is it? Like, you know, and what differentiates those kind of prisons?
Okay, so in California prison systems, you have 4 different levels of prison. High security, level 1s, level 2s, level 3, and level 4s. Level 4 is your highest. Level 4 is you come out of your cell, you got guns aimed at you, you're handcuffed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then as you go down the levels, you know, you don't be handcuffed as much if you're on level 2. Level 2, you can go outside when they open the doors and say you can go outside. You get to go outside for an hour, and then you come in, and then you can go outside for an hour, you know, on level 2s. When you get to level 1s, that's just like dorm living. You can come and go as you want. You can go eat food if you have it. You know, you can walk to the store.
Okay.
The other higher levels, you can't do that.
Okay, so Tehachapi was
all 4 levels at that one. Okay, it started.
okay.
It was
within a prison there'll be different levels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, what level were you in at that time?
I ended up landing on the level 2 yard.
Okay.
But when I first got there, I was on the level 4.
Okay.
And the only reason I was on a level 4 because they didn't have room.
Wow.
Okay, so those men on that level 4 yard are in the same situation as all the gentlemen in the Shawshank Redemption. Same thing. They're all double life. They're never going to get out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They have nothing to live for.
That's level 4.
That's level 4.
Okay. So that's a great sort of entry, because the question I wanted to ask next is like, you know, when you just watched Shawshank again, right? You watched it because you knew you were coming on, so it's fresh. So which scene in Shawshank do you think of as like the most realistic representation of something from prison that, you know, like when you saw it, you're like, yep, they got that right.
Okay, so the strip down naked where you come out, I mean, as soon as you get off the bus, you're stripping ass naked. And then they do a little hands up. They look underneath your fingernails, you know, look underneath your tongue. They make you bend over, cough. They don't hose you down like that. You know what I mean? But they do tell you, here's some soap, go take a shower. There's showers over there. You do come out naked. You have your bedroll. You have your clothes. The most realistic thing is like I said, at night, that first night when that door shuts, that's when it becomes real. You know what I mean? That's when you know, okay, I'm here. And this isn't a fucking place I need to be, but I'm here, so now I have to figure out how to deal with it.
Tell me about that feeling as much as you can remember it, of like, you know, what goes through your head, you know, that first night.
I was crying like a bitch. I was scared to death. I'm not going to kid.
Somebody would have won a bunch of fucking cigarettes on Mike, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There would have been a lot of cigarettes. But and you know, cigarettes up until the early 2000s, cigarettes was your number one currency.
Really?
Anything in the prison that you wanted to get, as long as you had cigarettes, you could get it. My tobacco tin. I've been rolling cigarettes for 25 years.
That's one thing about Mike. He smokes cigarettes every day, but he does not smoke regular cigarettes. He rolls every single one of them like he's rolling a joint or something in the office.
Probably do it fast, huh?
Oh,
I can roll cigarettes. Hey, one of the
I don't want
hustles.
to brag, but I can fucking roll a cigarette.
Hey, one of the hustles, man, was there was always homeboys in there that had money, and they'd buy cans of Bugler.
So how do you have money? I mean, are you allowed to have money in prison?
Not necessarily have like money in your hand, but your people can put money on your book, and then you can spend it at canteen. Sometimes you can get packages.
Okay.
So back in the day, the homeboys would buy a couple cans of Bugler. Well, they didn't want to roll cigarettes all the time, so homeboy would come over and say, "Hey, you roll me a can, and I'll give you a can."
So it's like so you're kind of selling your service.
Hell yeah, you know what I mean? Getting paid.
Yeah.
One way or another. So it's a hustle. Everything's a hustle.
So on the opposite side of it, you know, when you watch Shawshank this last round, what did you think? Like, yeah, that's just bullshit. It doesn't happen that way at all.
Okay, the the Boggs and the sisters. Okay, don't happen like that. You know what I mean? The 5 of us in this room, if one of us here decide they want to go do that, then okay, homeboy, you go do that and let us know how that worked out for you. But we're not going to help you.
Okay.
You know, that was probably one of the biggest. I've never seen it. And like I said, I'd done over 15 years.
Never seen like a group like try to corner somebody and like do like prison rape of some sort.
There has always been somebody in there that would blatantly be homosexual like that and put that vibe out there. You know what I mean? So they didn't really kind of have to go take it. Right. That's where this person kind of wanted to be to begin with. You know what I mean? And all the times that I did in prison, the queers wouldn't run with any other groups. You know what I mean? If he was a queer and he was from Modesto, I wouldn't say that's my homeboy. You know, that's queer so-and-so. That's not my homeboy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was another thing with the Shawshank Redemption. In the prisons today, not necessarily back then in the 30s, but in today's prison, you don't really associate with other races. You can associate, you can do business, but you can't eat, drink, or smoke after them. But we could trade cigarettes for a sealed package of food. That would be okay. But, you know, you can't play cards with them. You can't sit down in the same area and watch TV with them. You know what I mean? You don't sit down in a table next to them.
And what you've told me is that's enforced by both sides, or all races enforce that rule. There, you don't fraternize between the races, right?
That's right. Each race will have somebody that'll hold the keys, call the shots for the whole race, and then you'll have, you know, they say lieutenants and sergeants, but it's not really like that. You know, you have 1 or 2 dudes that says, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. You're going to have 15 dudes that are going to be the ones that stand up and fight. You know, you got to be a soldier before you're ever going to lead anything. You know what I mean?
So how, I mean, and there was a scene in the movie that I kind of, because I was thinking about, you know, what I wanted to ask you, and then there's a scene that I'd kind of forgotten about where, you know, the warden's talking to him, and he's kind of like, you know, you'll learn the rest of the shit as you go along. Like, you're talking about all these kind of, I mean, the way you describe that is like a pretty hard rule, but like, how do you learn that? That's not in the prison handbook, right?
No,
you know what I mean?
no,
like,
no,
it's not like
right.
they give you a set of, so like, how quickly and how do you learn when you show up the first time? You don't want to fucking do that.
Well, you learn pretty fucking fast, but the way it works is just like, so as the bus rolled in, you seen everybody that was in the yard congregate to the fence. Okay, well, we'll all do the same thing. And all the homeboys in prison will all congregate to the fence. But before anybody steps off that bus, because people that have been in prison are clerks, they'll already know who's on the bus and they'll already know where they're from. So before that person steps off the bus, whoever's holding the keys, say, I'm holding the keys, right? I'm the boss right now, right? Somebody will come and tell me, hey, Mikey, there's so-and-so. He's from Modesto. He's your homeboy. He's getting off that bus. And
So you know before they even show up.
Yes. I know who they are. I know what they're in there for, because that's a big thing. You know what I mean? So in the Shawshank Redemption, they all said, well, we're not guilty. Okay? But you didn't see nobody say, well, what are you in for? What was your actual crime? Same thing in today's prison. You guys go in today's prison, okay, they're going to ask you, what are you in here for? And if you're like, oh, blah, 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 let me see your paperwork. And if you don't have paperwork, that's where you're getting in trouble. Because your paperwork's going to tell them what you're in there for, okay? And no matter what prison you're in for, rape, any type of rape, male, woman, child, baby, anything.
That's a bad
We don't
situation.
accept that.
Yeah.
We don't accept that. The white race will not accept that. The other races will not accept that around their own people.
Wow.
You know, but
And so what'll happen if they ask you for your papers, you don't have your papers, what happens? You get stomped out?
yes.
And then what happens if you have your papers and you're like, say you're like, I mean, I don't know, something crazy,
If
like
you got
child
your-
molester or something.
Then it's all bad. Then whoever's holding the keys, say I'm the boss, I'm going to send 3 homeboys to get you. If your paperwork's bad, you're getting out of there fast, and you're getting out of there fucked up.
And they
And I
will-
don't care if you're stabbed. I don't care if you're beat. I don't care. You just got to go.
But they get beat up, right, or stomped out, or
Yep.
stabbed, or whatever it is. Then what happens to those people? They then get put in like some sort of solitary, right?
It depends.
Because if they can't be with the general population, like where do they send those people?
Mike just took a big old swig of water. He's like, ah.
Well, the issue with that is they're not putting them nowhere. They're converting more prisons to make people live together. Okay? And so you go to the penitentiary, all you got to stand on is your word, you know what I mean? And who you say you are. And that's all you have. Okay? If I was to go back to prison, I'm probably never going to get out. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to start fighting motherfuckers as soon as I get there. Because as soon as the cops tell me, oh, you're going to go over there and you're going to sleep in that fucking bunk with that dude. Fuck you, I am, buddy. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Whip my ass? Let's fight. That's all it's going to take. You know what I mean? The part where the one dude drugged that dude into the cell and beat the shit out of him. That happens.
Wow.
Just like you could pay a cop say a carton of cigarettes, $100. You send your old lady to pay this cop $500, and that cop brings that carton of cigarettes into you.
Yeah, so I was going to ask about this. So, like, one of the major things in the movie is like the prison economy plays this huge role, right? I mean, obviously, in some ways, you might argue that the rock hammer is like the single most important item, and then that moves the plot along. So, like, is it really can you really kind of get anything you want, and how the hell does that happen?
How do you get it?
Some of that I don't know if you guys want to know, but for the most of it, it's snuck in through visits. You know what I mean? Whatever you want, cell phones. As long as it's small enough, it can be snuck into a visit. So your old lady brings it in, tucked in her boobs, tucked in her pussy, whatever. You know what I mean? Passes it to you. You got to tuck it somewhere too. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I tuck things under my wife's boobs just for fun.
But in the Shawshank Redemption, you've seen how everything kind of came through laundry.
Yeah.
So somebody was able to talk to somebody outside and say, hey, you know what I mean? So when that old boy would slip that type of stuff that he ordered, it would come through laundry. So that is... And that
still happens. Like
every day.
The stuff that comes in and out, there's somebody getting paid off that someone brings stuff in.
Exactly.
So there really is like a robust prison economy is what you're saying? I mean, there's a lot of stuff traded, a lot of stuff that comes in. Yeah.
Yes, lots of stuff. A lot of stuff is done on the streets that is called, they say, hey, we're in prison. We need you to go do this.
Right.
And it's done. It's carried out on the streets.
Wow.
So one of the interesting things that you've told me, Mike, is that you could actually get in trouble if So say you go, you're they have a warrant out for your arrest, right? You're going to go to jail, so you can go turn yourself in. But if you go turn yourself in and you're a known prison person or jail person, and that you're going to go turn yourself in, and then you turn up in jail without any like presence that you brought with you, you get in trouble, right?
Right. Okay, so how that works in our county jail, Modesto County, you go to Modesto County Jail and you are a repeat offender. You've been to the penitentiary more than once. You either A, better know somebody in the cell, B, have something in your ass, or C, be ready to fight. You know what I mean? Because nobody's getting a free ride, especially like he said. If I have a warrant, I know I'm going back. As soon as I get there, homeboy's all, what'd you bring? Oh, I didn't bring nothing, homeboy. What do you mean you didn't bring nothing, dog? You know what I mean? You knew you was coming. You was already fucking running from the gate, so what the fuck? You know what I mean?
And like you said, they already know. I mean, they've got information ahead of time, so they know whether you turned yourself in. They know what you were up for, so they're like, you can't lie to me.
And what is it exactly that they would want you to bring in to?
Cigarettes.
Okay,
weed.
So it could be as simple as cigarettes. And
weed. Weed. Wow. They'd want you to bring cigarettes, weed, any type of dope, whether it's coke, heroin. You know what I mean? Some homeboys are brave. A couple fucking cell phones. You know what I mean? Pass those out. Because you bring in something like that into the system, and suddenly you become somebody. You know what I mean? Like how Red was kind of, I could get you anything you wanted.
The guy that could get everything,
You know what I mean?
so he was somebody.
Right. So each race would kind of have that guy that go to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it would be a hush-hush thing. You know what I mean? Oh, this old boy said he wanted this over here. Oh, okay. You go over here and hey, old boy's got it. However, it was stashing stuff.
But like you said, it was interesting you were saying, but there's sort of unwritten rules too about like across races, you can sort of do business.
Yes.
There's like you can't fraternize. And
right.
Sort of like,
you can't play cards. You can't eat.
But
drink,
you can.
But
the economy goes around the whole prison.
The whole prison.
Wow, that's
incredible. Sealed items. For sealed items is okay. Nothing opened. You know what I mean?
Why nothing opened?
I think it has something to do with swapping spit and saliva. I mean, if the white race wants to be that,
right?
You know what I mean?
Because it's not just the white race; it's also there's like a big like white supremacy part of it, right?
Right,
yeah.
And just like so, you have the Black Guerrilla Mafia from way back in the '60s. Okay, they're still a thing in prison.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Skinheads, they're still a thing in prison. You know what I mean? They just got so many different branches. You know what I mean? And none of them come together and actually see the same thing. All 5 of us here are white. But if we go to prison, I may have a darker skin tone. So the whites are going to question me. You know what I mean? And if I don't give them the right answers, the fight's on. You know what I mean?
So
there's a lot of
Mike,
fighting.
There's a lot
of fighting in prison.
Mike, you mentioned a lot. So, like, how on a day-to-day basis, like how often is there violence? Is it every day? Is it like every few days, or what are we talking about?
It depends on the type of violence you're talking about. I mean, 2 people living on a bunk for fucking a year and a half together, eventually going to have a problem every now and then and fight like a couple would. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if it escalates, if the 2 shot callers for the cars can't figure it out, You know what I mean? Then we moved to a bigger problem. All right, so now it's going to be all my homeboys against all your homeboys, and we're going to take it to the yard, and we're going to make it a big thing. You know, and that's what you see on news. Oh, this prison rioted and 25 people, blah, 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 blah. But you don't see about the day-to-day fights. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that is kept internal.
So, but you'd say, there's fighting.
All the time.
All the time.
Every day, right?
That-
As an
not
individual,
every day.
how many? In a year in prison, how many like fist fights would you say you got in?
3. 3 was the most.
Okay.
And each time it was because I held the keys and another dude from my own car didn't want to do what the fuck I told him. And I said, hey, look, you whip my ass, homeboy, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But until then, I hold the keys for this fucking car. And if something shitty goes down, then I get called back to the back and it's all bad for me. Because that's where they start killing people. You know what I mean? You make a wrong decision calling the shots on that prison yard over something, and they'll call you to the back, and that's where they'll take care of
what's
you.
the back?
The back would be...
Wait, who calls you to the back? The higher ups?
Yes, that Aryan Brotherhood.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And they'd take you someplace and...
Well, they just have you killed right there in the cell.
Just have somebody stab you or whatever it is.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so in the movie, back to the movie. So one of the things that culminates for the for Red and before that for why am I forgetting?
Andy?
No, for the librarian.
Brooks.
Brooks is that sort of like famous quote where he sort of says, like the walls are a funny thing, right? They start out being, you hate them and then you kind of get used to them and then you kind of depend on them. Is there anything to that? Like,
Yes. I mean, that's 100% true. The longer you sit behind those walls, the more you get used to them, the more you feel protected. Like I said, it's routine. You know what I mean? So it's the routine. And so after so many years, them guys are doing 40, 50 years in there. So they didn't know nothing else. A guy going to prison and doing 18 months, if he's never had a job in his life, and he always had to run the streets and never had nobody there to show him what a man is supposed to do, he's going to go right back to the same shit that he was doing.
And he's going to learn some shit in prison.
Right. Oh, yeah. See, you go in there a normal lame-o dude, you come out MacGyver. You know what I mean? You could fix anything. Well, I need this and this. I can start fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead serious, man. I can light fire off a light bulb and a piece of toilet paper. I can light fire plugs with, there's all kinds of batteries.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mike's told me about fucking insane like tattoo guns, like the way that you told me like so you can we go back really quick?
Yeah.
So you talked about how cigarettes at some point go away in the prison system, right? Like they
In
turn
the
into
2000s.
now it's like a super special thing to have cigarettes in prison, right?
Yes.
So then what is the currency now and from like early 2000 on? Because this is the best part to me.
Food items.
But mainly like $1 is a soup.
Well, it depends. A lot of times, so in jail, it's 25 cents a soup. You're not
Oh,
taxed.
25 cents a soup.
25 cents, okay? So for $1, you get 4 soups. But that basically became the currency in there. You know what I mean? If you want...
So just so I understand, so you mean you can have somebody put money in your account legally,
Yep.
and then go to the food store, whatever the
You got to put it. You got to put it in a little
canteen.
list.
And then you go and you buy the soup, right?
Yep.
They charge your account,
Yep.
but then that soup becomes
As your money.
barter
And
money.
by soup, you mean the
Top ramen
microwavable
noodle,
top
baby.
ramen
Top
soups?
ramen noodles.
Yep.
Can we acknowledge that Top Ramen is maybe the single most versatile, if not food, certainly item, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mike has told me some of the feasts that they make out of just top ramen. And it is absolutely
Man,
fucking
we can make
insane.
spreads. We can make fucking pizza rolls. We can make pizza. Man, we can make. The burritos. You can make so much. It's so versatile. And then they took out canned goods in prison. You used to be able to get canned goods. Okay, well they took that out because once you figured out how to open the can, well now you got you a knife. You know what I'm saying?
and like a object you can bludgeon something.
Yes, really bad.
That's a solid weapon.
So now everything comes in little sealed pouches. But you can get shit. You can get salmon. You know what I mean? You can get all the top types of meat that you want to put in this stuff in prison now. Not necessarily back in the days back then.
So why did cigarettes go away? What happened? Do you know?
Half the inmates and half the staff bitch about everybody else smoking was giving them cancer.
Right.
Oh, so
You know what I mean? And so then the governor said, hey, man, if we push this no smoking, it'll save the tax. Let me see. We spend X amount of dollars a year on tobacco for the prison. You know what I mean? Because they would order cases and cases of it.
right.
So once they figured out, man, we could save the taxpayers millions by cutting the cigarettes back. So they let you buy as many pouches or cans or cartons as you could buy. And then one day they said, okay, we're done.
Just wait till they find out the shit that ramen does to you. You know what I'm saying?
All of a sudden, I'm just picturing all of a sudden like 1 million inmates all having like tobacco withdrawals all at the same time.
Wow.
Just like, oh
all
my
of a sudden,
god,
just riots
yeah,
everywhere.
exactly.
What happened?
Like there had
You
to be
just
some
fucking
fucking
took away
unrest.
Well, to be honest with you, there wasn't that much because once you had your tobacco that you had bought and they said, okay, we're no longer selling it on Canteen. We're not going to take it from you. We're just going to let you smoke it until
Its
it's
value, its value just
gone.
went way up.
Way
That's
up.
what I was just gonna say. It's like you're in this dilemma because like you're like I'm fucking hungry and ramen looks really good, but I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to
trade this shit.
eat all my currency here.
Well, just like when you guys were talking about old boy doing the taxes for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so same thing in the penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? You scratch a cop's back, they'll scratch your back. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've known homeboys that grew up with lieutenants and sergeants that are in California prisons right now. You know what I mean? And like I said, if homeboy says, "Hey man, I want a fuck carton of cigarettes," all that CDC officer got to name his price. Well, I want $1,500, homeboy, and I'll get into you. Okay, all right, cool. But it's not, it's a coded phone call coming to somebody, and then his old lady approaching. His old lady may have to offer a blowjob or what the fuck ever. You know what I mean? But that's $1,500. As long as the cop's making more money than what he's getting, chances are he'll get it in. So same thing with old boy doing the taxes. You know what I mean? And so that as he was doing that later on in life, that he had figured out a way to scheme off of all their taxes and shit and put that stuff in the side. You know what I mean? So that when he did meet the old boy, they had plenty of money. They didn't have, shit to worry about because he was smart enough to do that.
I think he could have afforded a better boat. What do you guys think? I mean,
Yeah, he's been there a little bit.
out on the
He's
boat.
been there a little bit. So it
He's
seemed like he had some
A,
time
in
to get
Mexico, and B, he's got $400,000 in like 1940. I think he could have got a fucking yacht.
$12 million in today's.
So, Mike, guards are an issue in Shawshank. Some of the dickhead guards, and some of them seem to be okay. But is there some that you respect, and is there some that like you see them on site on the street and you want to punch them?
Yes. It
Yeah.
is definitely like that for sure. You have cops that are cool, you know what I mean, that respect you, and then you have cops that hide behind that badge and they think they're all that. You know what I mean? And I've encountered plenty of both of them. You know what I mean? And you just kind of have to learn the lingo and how you're going to respond and act with this one. You know what I mean? Some of the funniest cops I've ever been around, you know what I mean, were the biggest dicks in prison. They really were. Until you got to know them or you knew them. You know what I mean? But fuck, there are cops if I see it's on. It's fucking on.
Not seeing me out in the street.
I got something too. As far as in the movie, obviously the Prison Break it's practically a Prison Break movie. In your experience, have you heard of stories, any crazy Prison Break attempts, or that actually went through?
All I can tell you is, in 2003, I was in Mule Creek State Prison, which is right up here, Ione, okay? And me and like 8 homeboys had made it down to the lower levels. And 2 of the homeboys were looking at doing like 10 years, okay? And so when they went to classification, the classification told them, look, we're going to give you guys this opportunity to go to this lower yard, and we expect you to be good and not do nothing. The one homeboy made it 7 days. On the 7th day, he put a bike together at the bicycle shop, bro, and rode it the fuck up out of there. Like, it was the thing to do. I'll never forget that, man.
Like
That
you
was
said, fucking MacGyver, man. You go to prison, you're like, I can make a bike out of a package of ramen and a fucking fork, you know?
Oh, man, I tell you. So we were on lockdown for a week and a half. And they come and interviewed if you were from Modesto or you had anything, because I got Modesto tattooed on me, okay? Then they were going to pull you in there and they were going to extensively interview. Where was he going? Do you know him? Do you know him from the streets? I'm like, I don't know this fucking dude. You know what I mean?
You're like, I don't know, try Mr. T's Donuts. That shit's good.
Yeah, but, funny thing was, it was like a month and a half later, he turned himself in like Oklahoma or some shit.
Oh, wow. A long bike ride, man.
Damn,
Those guys in good shape.
Real quick related to that though. So do prisoners joke around about escape, or is it just pretty much that doesn't come up very often in conversation? Or is there like every once in a while you come up with a plan, maybe that would work, I saw this shit that's going down, or maybe that could work? Or
no, it's very rarely is it really ever really discussed, because like I said, if you're down to lower levels 1 and 2, then you're doing short time. You're not going to do more than 5 years.
So you're not worried about it.
So you're not worried about it.
And you don't want to risk like getting a longer sentence.
Right,
and you're doing pretty. As time goes, I assume it's a lot easier time.
Yes, it gets a lot better once you get your program, what you're going to do. You know what I mean? It gets a lot easier. You get homeboys there, you're good.
So obviously, like, we might argue, and I didn't bring this up earlier. I don't know how I didn't, but I'll come back to it. But the friendship, right, is the thing that kind of drives the movie, and maybe that's the single most enduring thing for me. And Shawshank is like, I'm kind of romantic about friendships. Like I really, friendships are super important to me, and I feel like they're really important things in my life. So in prison, do you make those kind of connections that feel like, the way that they're portrayed, kind of have that, like, you're in the trenches together, or is it like, fuck you, I don't trust you?
No. You definitely create that, but it's not really a friendship. It's you need me and I need you. So we have to kind of, we're stronger in numbers than we are apart.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have, like, for instance, when the old boys, after the third or fourth time that dude was raped by the one guy, his own people should have come up. Instead of the cops doing that, his own people should have rushed that dude 3-4 deep. You know what I mean? Because like I said, whites in prison ain't down for that.
Right.
Unless you're going to say you're gay, and then if you're gay, you're going to go stand over there by yourself and fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's just how it is in there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But as far as walking in there and being a solid dude, you know what I mean? From day one, if they told me that you and you and you were going to show up and I'm holding the keys, right? As soon as they let you loose, as soon as those cops tell you what bed you're going to, somebody's going to tell you to come with me. And if they're walking you to me, they're going to say, hey, I'm taking you to this shot caller. You're going to do what he tells you to do.
So when you say, sorry, what does it mean to hold the keys? I think I want to understand that a little bit. Like,
It's a metaphor for the car, that everybody's in the car, right? And
Right.
whoever has the keys is the leader. So it's just a metaphor.
So it's your own little gang.
Okay. So okay. Got it. Yeah. So
the California prison systems are separated by area codes.
okay.
Okay, so if you get arrested and you get arrested in Merced all the way to Stockton,
You're in the
209.
You're 209.
Okay, and then to get the groups a little smaller, they break it down to cities.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like once you earn, because you have to earn certain shit that you do in prison.
So if you have the keys, if you're from Waterford, and like you've got the key, and you've kind of proven yourself, you're going to have the keys for the car, right? The guys that are in that in from Waterford,
Right?
Like
and Modesto and wherever.
okay, because you might have 15 guys in it, that you have the keys for,
And they're all 20 guys.
okay,
Could be 3 guys. You know what I mean? But the shot caller, the key holder, right? So if one of these other homeboys has a problem with somebody else, so before he does anything, he's got to come talk to me.
yeah,
Okay, and then I go and I find out whoever holds the key for whoever car he has a problem with, and I try to talk to that dude. And if that dude don't want to be reasonable, then me and him fight. You know what I mean? And then if that doesn't work, then all of us fucking fight. You know what I mean? And so regardless that you're not involved and you're not involved and you're not involved, because me and him are involved and I hold the keys, we're all involved now. You either jump with me or there's going to be repercussions
Yeah.
if you don't.
So what do you I kind of want to sort of wrap up pretty soon here, but before we do that, I definitely want to hear, you said to Zach, you think it's really important for people to know kind of what it's really like. What's the thing that's most important for you, for people to understand that they don't understand, that you think, like, people would, if people had a better feeling for certain things, they'd have a different view on what we should do about prisons and how we should, think about them.
You got to think about them with, what's it, empathy?
Empathy. Yeah.
Empathy. Okay, empathy, and you need to work on helping them, because a lot of people in prison, it's a habit, and they don't know how to change it.
Yeah.
It's repeated. It's over and over. I did it 5-6 times.
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
it wasn't because you were like, I'm stoked.
I just don't want
to
to
go back to prison.
I don't want to deal with
it.
nothing.
Like, yeah.
I don't want to get a job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking have to find a place for me to live. Shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to. Look, it's easier in prison. In there, I have all that stuff handed because I'm somebody.
Now, does the prison try to offer like mentorship programs or things
No.
like that? Like, yeah.
No.
And so that's what some of what you're saying here is, like, from a prison reform standpoint, right? There's not enough going on
Not
in
enough
there
at
to
all.
try to help people figure out how to not get back.
In your opinion, do you think, like, based on how separate into individual cars, like you said, how it's organized in there in the kind of the gangs or the races, do you think something like that would work in the prison system? It would probably take some time to, with the way it's set up now, that would take some time to kind of break
Figure
that
it out.
system
for
down,
sure.
right?
For sure. For sure. Again, you're also going to have to separate. Some people get to that point in their life where that's an easier excuse.
Yeah.
I've been doing it now 13 years. I get up every day, about the same time I would in prison. You know what I mean? I don't work out no more. I drink coffee and I go to work. Same routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you come to my house and you know, even though I got a big ass house, you know, I live on my side of the bed. My tobacco's on my side of the bed. I got sodas, I got water, I got everything I need right there. Same thing in a cell, because you get used to that little space is yours, and you don't want people to violate that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's a real big thing in prison. But
And now that you've been out, right, and like you said, you know, you're not in that sort of routine that kept having you go back, right? And like, you know, Zach talked about it, and he you know, sometimes I want to say, Mike, because, you know, sometimes people, you know, say things to blow, you know, smoke up your ass when you're there, but I've never heard Zach say anything but what he said, which is like, you know, you're his best worker. You're somebody that is fucking, he relies on. You're great at your job. You're a solid dude. So now that you're that guy, right, you're somebody that has that routine that's really positive, and like you're doing things that, you know, keep you in a good pattern. Do you miss anything about prison? Like, is there any, you know, because you talked about it kind of like, you know, when you're in the bad pattern, you're like, well, it's kind of easier there. And you talked about the fact that those walls become a place of comfort in some ways. Now do you look back and you go, yeah, you know, there was that one thing that I kind of sometimes wish I was back in.
No.
So once you're out, you're like, you know, anything that felt comfortable about it now, you're like, fuck that shit.
Fuck that. And I mean, it's just, there's too much. You know what I mean? I'd have to fight from the gate. I'd have to fight now because I got fucking Modesto on my stomach. You know what I mean? Because, well, how'd you earn that?
Right.
And say, so when they ask you how you earn shit, you know, you got to start breaking down, dropping people's names that are co-signing for you. You know what I mean? Because chances are they're in the back.
Right.
That means they're back in the hole. You know what I mean? And so, but.
Wow. Okay. So one of the things that you might know is that we do these highly competitive drafts, and you know, we're pretty competitive dudes here, and so we, you know, no matter what arena you put us in, we want to be the best at it, and that includes hypothetical prison, Mike. So here's what you got to tell us. Just by the conversation, just by looking at us, which of us is likely to, if we all went to prison, which of the four of us is going to do the best, and which one is, you know, you're really concerned about how they're going to fare here?
I'd be concerned about this gentleman here.
Look at his fuck.
That.
You'd be concerned about
I'd be concerned about that.
So he pointed at Brad first. All right,
just being really
then
nice.
Zach.
He's really a nice guy.
So what are you picking up there? Is it the mustache on Brad that you're like
just too square, too square? You know what I mean? He doesn't look the part, brother. No offense, brother.
Mike does think
I'm glad. Yeah,
Mike just being nice and
no,
saying
Mike.
me.
For our whole lives together, Mike has thought of me as the biggest dorky nose.
Yeah.
No, this dude's straight square, brother. Straight square.
So
Totally,
all right,
totally.
So it's down to Nick and I. Who between Nick and I are going to be the shot caller?
Damn.
Chances are you would be.
Yeah, that's right. I would be
Because you're pretty big.
listen to
You
that.
put together a nice interview, bud.
But
attention,
with that
son.
being said, the smaller guy'd be the smarter one.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
you're
smarter, but
gonna
I'd
be
stomp
you're gonna
him
be the
out.
target. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna automatically go for you whether you're calling the shots or you're that's a big old boy and we don't want him to get his hands on us.
So you think
Meanwhile-
the bigger you are, people put a target on your
Oh,
back?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Nick's over there just hoarding fucking top
got
ramen.
all the
And he's just like top ramen
Slinging
in
that
like
ramen,
cans
bud.
that he's made into
That
knives.
beef
Fuck,
ramen.
All right, hey,
Beef.
Mike. Seriously, we can't say enough about how much we appreciate you coming on, dude. It was super interesting. You know, obviously for the pod's sake, but just for my own sake, I've been excited just to hear the sort of the perspective, and so it's awesome, man. We really appreciate it. Thank
And
you
man,
so
I really
much.
appreciate you guys having me come out. It was real fun, real entertaining.
Cool.
Pleasure to meet you guys, and I'll do it anytime you need it. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
you know what? You don't say it if you don't mean it, because we're gonna suck you right back in.
Okay, so that's
you asked Scotch Beck over there, who by the way is
We asked this guy on one podcast. He's done like 20
ever
of them with us.
Well, you know, that's the thing. You know, that's something else that the prison system has taught me. Okay, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I don't have to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Because you'll just fucking punch me in the face.
If I have to. You know what I mean? Hey, I'll be honest with you guys. I walked in. I sized every one of you up. What do I got to do? What am I going to have to do to hurt this motherfucker if he's trying to hurt me?
Owning that guy.
And that's what you do in the penitentiary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I told you that first night, I was scared, boy. I mean, I was scared like a bitch. But I wasn't going to let nobody else in that motherfucker know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the first motherfucker said, hey, dude, woo, woo, woo. Fuck you, homeboy. We're
Go at
fighting.
him. Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how you earn your respect.
You know, I'm going to try to, put the. Now that I know Nick's my competition, shit's gonna get real.
Oh, watch out.
All right.
Hey, I think
thanks
us
a lot,
three can
Mike.
swing on Nate pretty hard. Right?
That's it. Right there.
That's right. If they learned anything from Mike, it's if one of you goes, you all go. Right?
That's right. That's right.
All right. So,
Mike, thank you so much,
Mike,
Hey,
thanks
man,
a
no
lot.
problem,
I really
man. All right.
appreciate it.
Awesome, you guys.
all
Thank
right,
you.
we'll be back with some snagging, shagging, and body bagging in just a minute. All right, we are back. What a great conversation we had with Mike. So we're going to jump now to our shag, snag, body bag. We're talking Shawshank, and I'm going to kick it right on over to Brad first, since he's the one that just popped his Shawshank cherry.
All right. Well, my
Shawshank cherry.
my shag is, and this is related to how I watched the movie. And if you guys obviously have been listening, you know that I did not watch the movie for the first 20-something years that it was out.
28.
It's approaching 30, just very soon, 2 years. So I didn't watch it for the first 28 years it was out, and then decided to watch it a couple nights ago for this pod. I got to say that my shag is seeing a movie without any preconceived notions. Like when you see it at the theater, maybe nobody's talked about it and you're kind of like the first of your group to see it. I think there's something special about that when like it's like you just don't know what to expect, and so this movie's going to punch you as hard as it can, and there's not going to be any like, oh, I'm kind of expecting this or that. As much as I avoided and really had no clue for most of the Shawshank stuff, there were still enough pop culture things that I had heard where I kind of knew some of the beats. I didn't know exactly how things were going to happen. One, I knew that he was not going to be, he wasn't guilty.
He was wrongfully accused.
Two, I had heard that he crawls through shit. So I knew he was getting out. I didn't know exactly how that was all going to go down, and I didn't especially know how Morgan Freeman played into the whole scheme of things. So I got to say my shag is when you can see a movie like a Shawshank or whatever. Mine was legitimately, it was seeing The Hangover without any knowledge of it. I think it was opening weekend, just randomly, and just laughing my ass off because I had no clue what to expect, and it just knocked my socks off. So that's my shag, is seeing those movies when you have no knowledge whatsoever, and then they just blow you away. So I can assume that for a lot of folks, this is what Shawshank was.
That definitely was the case for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good Will Hunting's another one for me, which is one of my favorites that I really had that raw experience. I don't even think I didn't know anything other than the title.
Nothing about it.
Other than the title.
That's tight.
And I saw it in theater.
My shag is Prison Break movies, but going a little more romantic direction, like Brad, are movies that are always they're rewatchable, I guess is the simplest way to put it, but that they don't get old. And like Nate has mentioned for multiple movies, that they change depending on what you're going through in your life, where you're at in your life. They're always great. There's enough, real life that you can connect with. It doesn't get too heavy. Which makes it obviously rewatchable. The acting's amazing, and it ends. It ends like Brad was saying, like romantic sports movie does. For people that love movies, a movie like this that is timeless. I don't know. The older I get, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, or I don't know if it's because we're just oversaturated with TV shows and movies that come out, once every week. I feel like on different streaming services that. They're either remakes of one movie or they're a superhero movie. Sorry, Brad. But, I just feel like original written movies that are like this don't feel like they come around as often anymore. And a movie like this, I feel like the older we get, the more valuable and the more we kind of like cherish movies like this.
I'll say, remember when we were younger, like there was something cool about opening that I don't remember what day they would start. I think it was like maybe Thursday. The newspaper would start having the listings for the weekend that was going to be coming up. Yeah. And I know I wasn't in tune with like what was coming out aside from previews that I would see on TV.
Right.
Or you would check the newspaper and you would see like, oh shit, here's what's coming up.
Thursday
or at the movies
was the
when
day that they had the big, like you could see, they almost like the movie poster in the
yeah. All the graphics would be really big, and it was like, oh shit, like,
and
this
it was like
Jurassic
Park.
Yeah, it might just be 3 or 4 movies, but that's what you knew was coming out. It's not like today where, like you said, every single day you could watch something absolutely brand new between all the streaming services and shit like
I was
that.
listening to This Is Important, our guys on This Is Important, and they were just joking about that exact thing. They were joking about, I don't know what I'm watching right now. I'm watching like 25 things right now. Don't fucking ask me. Like I could remember like an hour ago. I don't know what I'm watching.
I forget about shows that I get into, and I'll be watching them. Then all of a sudden, like, I start watching something else. I forget that I watched like the first 3 episodes.
I'm 8 episodes into that series,
This
and
is
I have
why
no
I
idea.
don't watch anything until it's done. That way I don't forget.
And like you said, Brad, like also being at the movie theater and watching the previews at the movie theater was such an
goddamn, so
unbelievable
great.
experience.
So no bullshit. That's my snag. So
Snag or
shag. My shag is the tiny movie theater behind Taco Bell in Turlock, which is
Festival, I think is what it
probably
was.
where you saw this movie. I would be willing to bet.
Yeah, that is possible. Back
was, like,
then,
right
it would have been
by
there. It
Mervin's.
would have been.
I saw
Yeah, it was
Forrest
right
Gump
by
there. I
Mervin's.
saw Jurassic Park there. I know
Me
for sure. I
too.
saw Back to the Future 2 there.
I saw Jurassic Park there, and that was like the thing that made me love movies was seeing Jurassic Park in the theater at that movie theater, and I just remember thinking like, oh my god, like this is what movies.
The
can
Gardens
be.
was the
This is
bowling
so
alley.
Fucking ridiculous.
I saw there's something.
What was
about
the
Mary
movie
there.
theater called?
I don't even know what it was called, dude. But either way, it was like
Shit.
I felt like it was like a smaller. There was only like 2 or 3 screens. There was like a super community feel to it. They actually like later on after they made it into like a dollar movie theater where you could go see stuff that came out like 3 months
older,
ago
yeah.
and go see for like $1. But just that experience, like this movie, Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park, Armageddon, like I have specific memories, just like Bev's Video Kingdom. I have specific memories of that theater and like all of these movies that go together with Shawshank Redemption for me. Like you said, the movies that were up for Best Picture that year, like Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction, all those movies. Like Pulp Fiction was like even too old for me. Like I didn't get to go see Pulp Fiction in the theater because I wasn't like, my parents wouldn't have let me do that. You know what I mean? But like. This is a pretty this is a heavy movie. It's inspirational but also like really heavy, which I feel like the same thing with like Forrest Gump. Like this is just like Brad said at the beginning of the pod, like this is like an American film, right? Like there's something about it that seems very like accessible, but at the same time like it's watered down, but it's still impactful emotionally. And I just dig that. It makes me think of that specific theater, and that was my shag.
Love it. Fucking love it.
Somebody local has to give me the name of the Turlock.
Someone will know.
Somebody on the socials, please hit me up because it's bugging me now.
I want to say it was must have been like Central Valley Cinema or
Turlock.
Was it Valley? I think it was just Valley Cinema.
it might be Valley Cinema.
That
I
sounds
think it was
about
called
right.
Mervin's Adjacent.
It was
right
It
next
was
to
called
Mervin's.
"Get Some Taco Bell After You Watch the Movie."
So, at the risk of being kind of like a little overly simplistic, I think my shag here is friendship and camaraderie.
Oh yeah.
So in the movie, it's not just Red and Andy, which I think is really cool, but like there's a lot of dynamics with the crew that I really like, and so the Brooks and Andy kind of connection, and
The guy with the little speech impediment that he had like a little bit of a stutter.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a part of the movie that I kind of even forgot to talk about in our opening, but I think probably that was the thing that drew me to it originally, was that like there's just the connection that the friendships sort of have in the movie is so great. But I definitely I could kind of watch those scenes and those connections all day.
I felt the same, Nate, when we were in Facebook jail. Like it was really the same for me. I felt a real camaraderie with you
Me
guys.
too.
I was like, if I was going to be in Facebook prison with somebody, I just want it to be these 3 guys.
Well, when you fought that first guy and like we all backed you up. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, it was great. It was great. When I dropped my soap and you guys came to my
When
rescue.
you made that comment on that one page and we all jumped in with
Oh yeah, I
other
forgot
comments.
about that. Yeah. You guys really had my back in the virtual world.
All right, Zach, I'm going to start with you. What do you got for a snag?
So
what do you want to take home with you?
If I'm gonna snag something, it is the big, like mid movie, and I've talked about this so many times, so it seems super reductive and dumb, but like the big mid movie, like emotional payoff or like switch of some sort. And so they did it twice in this movie, and it's one when Brooks ends up killing himself, and then it's 2 when you as the viewer, and I mean, I guess it's controversial whether or not this was like a twist to anybody, but to me, when I first watched this movie, I remember thinking like, oh, like fucking maybe like, oh, he didn't do it. Like, you know, they kind of throw that curveball at you, and maybe I was just naive watching it, but I also remember thinking like, maybe he did it, maybe he didn't. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of back and forth about it, and then they threw that kind of in the middle, and I was like, all right, this movie's got me. I want to know where it's going to take me, and it fucking ends up taking you to a beach in Mexico with a shitty boat, and I fucking love it. I love all that stuff, but the mid movie like kind of you know, gut punch is going to be my snack.
And
for sure.
that saying that, how cool is it that a movie where you're in a prison for 80% of the movie, for it to end on a turquoise beach in Mexico? What a perfect way to end a prison movie.
Couple of platonic bros just hugging it out on the beach, bro.
Last week, I kind of suggested a corny song that could have ended at the end of Hereditary when I said it could have ended with Highway to Hell. I'm just thinking of Shawshank, like how atrocious would it be if it was just all of a sudden reunited and it feels so good. That song comes on at the very end. Like, how much does it kill that scene?
It's dead.
I think that might be my new thing. I'm just gonna try to bring up like what movie that plays at the end of the movie that would just ruin the
That's
feeling.
gonna be like your Till Dawn. You're gonna come up with it.
I think
amazing.
the only thing
Till Dawn.
That's a freaking amazing idea.
the only thing that beats that is if it just goes straight into Ebony and Ivory. Like as soon as he's like,
That's probably the better choice. That's the better choice, 100%.
All right, Nick, was yours the ending?
No, mine's Morgan Freeman.
yeah.
I'm co-signing on that.
So the voiceover of Morgan Freeman after this movie, it became a thing. And not just, it was just Morgan Freeman's thing, and it was kind of, people would make fun of it or make, you know, fun of it, or it'd be part of like SNL skits. The writers and people on The Last Man on Earth, the Will Forte show, worked actually Sewa Taneo into, I think it was season 2. You know, it's post-apocalyptic. They're kind of traveling around the United States, or, you know, they're trying to look for a home to kind of, they're seeing who else is, you know, alive after this, like this plague that's, you know, stripped the earth of, have you guys seen Last Man on Earth at all?
I have not watched.
So then they do a lot of plays on the Morgan Freeman. They try and make fun of his voice. Will Forte tries to do the Morgan Freeman voice and like the voiceover. But anyways, not just the voiceover, but Morgan Freeman, his charisma, and just Morgan Freeman just doing what Morgan Freeman does, and just being one of the best actors that we will all, you know, see in our lives. And it's it's not the same movie without him. So I gotta give our boy Morgan Freeman.
And I'm gonna jump right in there too with just, I mean, a couple trios. When you look at 89, he does Lean on Me, Driving Miss Daisy, and Glory, all in 1 year.
That's incredible.
And then 94 into 95, he does Outbreak, Shawshank, 7. It's like, I mean, goddamn, the
That's
dude was
gangster
just
shit,
putting
dude.
in work. He's one of the top 5 paid actors of all time. His IMDb is pretty damn solid across the board. I mean, between all
And
the things
he's
done.
decidedly not a heartthrob. He's decidedly just an amazing actor, and he doesn't have six pack abs, or like he doesn't have
he
like
might have a
even like
six-pack.
the raw sexuality of like Denzel, who's not like the most like, you know, like beautiful man in the world, but he's super good looking. You know what I mean?
If you want to see the raw sexuality, you better check out when he was on Electric Company back in the early 70s. And he was Easy Reader. Look up Easy Reader on YouTube if you want to see Morgan Freeman just getting down and teaching kids to read. It's
They
awesome.
show him a bunch in the movie where they keep stamping his thing rejected, and it shows like the real young picture of him.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I got something on that.
What do
That's
you
his
got?
son.
Oh, really?
So that's
I remember
Denzel.
seeing that.
Yeah,
no
dude.
shit.
that's Denzel's son, and
great.
actually,
No, you mean Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
I'm sorry. Morgan Freeman's son, and actually, his son has a quick little part, and I'm pretty sure that. So when
Tim Robbins coming in.
Tim Robbins comes off the bus,
Yeah.
and there's one of the guys is like,
Here's
"Fish,
fish.
fishy, we're reeling them in."
That's
and I
his
think
son.
that's his son. The one that's
Really?
in the mugshot, that's his son also. Same guy.
I mean, not to name drop like Nate did earlier with his friend that did The Hangover, but
Scott Budnick.
yeah, I tripped over that name after you dropped it. But I did seat Morgan Freeman and his estranged wife in about 2001 when I was a host at El
Oh yeah,
Torito.
you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I thought he was the one that came into
Bubba Gumps.
Bubba Gump.
No, I think I seated him at El Torito. I'm pretty sure. I could have that.
The one in Monterey, the right there on
Yeah,
the
the one on
you
Cannery
seated
Road.
him?
Okay.
Yeah, I was only a host. I wasn't a server at that.
Are you
Did you chicken out and talk to him like you did with the Hoist and Heavies guys?
Are you guys still in touch or?
Well, usually if he needs a seat anywhere, I'm just like, hey, Morgan, just wait for me. I'll be right there. I'll get you seated, bro. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, I
know how to get things, Morgan.
I'm a man who knows.
I can get you some biscuits.
So
What's up, Red?
I'm going to snag the sneaky sort of philosophical undercurrent of the movie, which is like, this kind of came up earlier, but there's this sort of question about like the way the kind of the mind games that you play and the role that like what hope is and how you cope with things, right? So like, Red sort of sees it as this thing that kind of, can really kill you, literally kill you in that place, and Andy sees it as the only thing in some ways that like allows him to survive. And there's this, for me, right, that kind of complexity that is running through it, that they don't hit you on the head, like they don't make that, they're not super heavy-handed about it, but I think that's one of the things that makes it so that I see it in different ways as I go on. Like I said, like I'd never really paid attention until now, and partly it's because where you are in your life, but like the idea that for Andy, it's not just about some like far off hope. It's like I have to keep doing these things that allow me to feel like I'm moving forward in a productive and meaningful way, even if in the end it doesn't amount to anything, right? So for Andy, the hope is
living. I mean, that's living to him. What's the point of living without hope?
Totally. And I think, the get busy living or get busy dying thing is like, it gets portrayed as though like there's this moment, this break point where like, okay, now it's time to get busy living. But I think Andy in some ways is talking about the fact that like he figured out a long time ago he had to live in prison in a way that like made it okay for him. Yeah. And that was something I just really love about the movie.
It's like, Nate, like that like eventually like you have the hope that your daughter's going to sleep through the night. So you're just like every day you're like, all right, I just have to hold on to this hope that this is going to happen. Well, Nick, you probably have the same thing going on.
But like Andy, I don't just idly hope. I slowly give her melatonin along with her food so that I'm just dosing her more and more. So eventually she's going to pass out.
You're digging that hole.
That's right. I'm digging that. I don't know if she's asleep, but someday her melatonin levels gonna be so high. I gotta think.
Nate walks out with the excess melatonin. He just dumps it out his pant leg. He's like, "Yeah, she's fine. Fucking 40 milligrams. She's ready for bed."
Just shoot her.
That running down your leg.
Some point, the Benadryl's coming out.
That's just melatonin, baby.
Well, Nate, you mentioned watching the movie like at certain points of it. And I think there's one difference here watching it now than maybe if I would have watched it when I was, like I said, back in high school or shortly after. Is one thing I noticed a little bit more, and I don't know exactly how to think about this, but it's just the idea that you have a book that was written with Red as a white character. It was an Irish dude. And then Morgan Freeman gets the part, and so they change him to a black character. But yet it seems like they do zero to acknowledge that this is a black man living through the 40s, 50s, 60s in one of the more chaotic periods for black people in the United States. And yet there's really just no talk whatsoever. And after talking with Mike,
you're stepping inside my body bag right now. Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Okay, I'll let you flow. I'll let you, because this was going to be part of my body bag, and I decided to switch it. But I wanted to bring it up
hard on the head, right?
Or is that where we're at? You guys, we've
yeah. I'd like to. Can I just
bag.
piggyback on what Brad is saying? Is that like my huge problem with this movie is that it completely ignores race altogether. There is no racism from the guards. There's no racism from the fellow prisoners. And I mean, we're talking about 1940s America. Like fucking racism is alive and well in fucking where's Shawshank Prison?
Maine. But at the same time, that's not going to matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, these are incarcerated people, and there was some serious race issues and divides going on at this time. And the fact that this movie ignores it completely makes it Disneyfies it.
In a sense, yeah, exactly.
It makes it a super Disney-fied, sanitized version of this time in history.
So here's my. Let me just disagree for fun, not because I think that's a fine take. But like, So my literal example of Disney's version of racism that I always bring up is Remember the Titans.
Right, I knew you
and
were
I
gonna say
literally hate that movie for the not. But so for me, the difference is that they take on racism in a way that is just fully patronizing and fucking like so shallow in the way that they resolve it from my perspective, that they're like all the complexity and all the seriousness and all the gravity is just from I always think in that movie is just completely like shit. It's just terrible. Whereas here it seems like a weirdly, I mean, it's weird in the sense that like you're obviously right.
It's never acknowledged.
It's never acknowledged.
Yeah.
But it feels very much like a choice to just ignore that dimension and not to like pacify it. So like I never watch it and think like they're trying to make it out as though race wasn't an issue. They're just like, we're just not going to deal with that complexity in the movie. But I'm not disagreeing because
I just feel like that's unfair to.
But here, so let me give you the counter.
What those people went through.
But they also,
let me give you the counterfactual.
don't spend much time talking about the time period either. It's all about the prison. It's all about what's going on inside those walls.
Right, but
they spend zero
I just
time.
feel, and maybe I'm completely wrong. I have no idea. I wasn't alive in 1940, but I feel like those relationships, like the relationships portrayed in this, are very fairy tale mythical shit that wouldn't have happened in real life.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
I think that's true, but
it's a good take.
But I think my comment is more that like it's validating in a way, in the sense that I think race was such an issue,
Right.
that it would if you deal with it,
It overtakes the story.
It completely.
Yes, I agree.
If you deal with it, you either deal with it half-ass and poorly,
Right.
or you can't even see anything else.
Right.
And so I always think of it as like they realize they can't do anything.
So here's the ultimate shit take, right? So my mind immediately goes like, why cast Morgan Freeman in this role if you're not going to fucking address this shit? You know what I mean? Why not have it be another white guy and then we don't have this conversation, right?
Interesting enough, and I'm not too well versed, but just from some things I've seen about Morgan Freeman, like his takes on race are very much
they're-
don't acknowledge me as a black man. I'm not going to acknowledge you as a white man. Let's just be men and just be based off of like our actions, and that's kind of his take. So maybe he kind of appreciated that it was just like, it's not, I'm a black man, and so we have to make everything about my character from a black man's perspective. I can just be a black man who's acting this movie and not have to deal with all of
I
that bullshit.
unfortunately feel like his take is from a very privileged
Right.
perspective,
I
which
would
kind
agree.
of sucks. But
I would agree.
Yeah. All right.
Is that one last thing? Is his? Is it a shot at the original writing of two?
He makes the joke
He
that
says
he-
like
yeah,
maybe it's because I'm
yeah,
Irish.
yeah.
I didn't.
It's a
that's
great
the
joke.
first
It's a
time I
great
heard
joke,
it.
but yeah, it's playing that I think that line is actually
because
maybe
it
in
was
the book.
written to that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Brad, what do you got?
My body bag, and this is, again, I mentioned earlier that there's maybe one reason that I'm not like super gushing on this movie. I really don't like Tim Robbins as an actor.
wow.
I've never liked Tim Robbins, and I think a lot of it stems from how he throws a baseball in
Duke
Bull Durham. Nuke LaLoosh. The fact that he can't throw a baseball really bothers me, and
He's like 6'5".
I know, and it's just like that for some reason really always angered me. I was like, how did they get a guy that is supposed to be this ace up and coming pitcher and he cannot throw a baseball? Like that's pathetic. But I will say this, there's not been many movies when Tim Robbins has been in, I'm like, oh shit, Tim Robbins, I got to go see this. Like I'm never feeling like that. He does a good job in this movie, but he's very just Tim Robbins. I've seen him. The couple things I could mention that I liked him in. He's pretty funny in Martin Lawrence, Nothing to Lose.
I do like that.
That's
movie.
a pretty silly comedy. He does a good job in that. And then High Fidelity. I kind of like his goofy, like aloof character in High Fidelity. But other than that, he's never blown me away with his acting chops.
So I don't disagree with that general take, but I think he's perfect in this role. So I think that's right. But maybe this is just his wheelhouse. I'm not sure that like there's a ton of other stuff. I love him in this role, and like for me, Tim Robbins is Andy. So like in some ways,
Exactly.
Like,
I think
that's the
when
thing.
you
I've
say
seen him in
Tim
so many
Robbins
other
role,
things.
I think
Yeah.
this is the Tim Robbins role, right? And the other thing is like I like him. I like everything he does in this movie except when he goes to the hole and like he comes out and he's supposed to be like and like
a little too much of a shell.
Yeah, the director obviously told him like you've been changed, like you need to be different. You know what I mean? Like I didn't love that what he did with that part of it, but besides that, I thought he was really good.
Nikki.
Just the fact that we talked about like the really tight knit group of friends, and that I would have been nice to have seen like maybe Morgan Freeman have another almost like a goodbye interaction, because obviously they weren't going to have that with Tim Robbins.
Oh yeah,
He
you're
was
right.
out.
He kind of just leaves the prison and
Shows
never
him
says
leaving,
goodbye
and,
to
like,
anybody.
And you've been with those guys the entire movie, and you like the interactions. It would have been nice to have just had a little something, not too much, but a little interaction with the friends.
I mean, maybe that's the trust thing that Mike was kind of talking
Yeah,
about. It's like it's
that's what I
more
thought
you're
about.
here as a use to me, and then if he says I'm going to be breaking out, they're like, "Fuck
Like,
you,
I'm
you're
out.
not." Like,
Yeah.
But you're saying that you're saying Morgan Freeman's, you're saying Red's character didn't have a goodbye?
He never
Yeah,
says
Reds.
goodbye to all those
oh,
guys.
I'm sorry. I
would've
thought you were
made-
talking. Okay,
No,
I got
and I'm
you.
saying
My
it
bad.
would have made more sense for them to have at least work in some type of a goodbye. But like Brad's saying, well, never mind. We'll find out. Oh no, our guest was already on. Yeah, sorry, time. I had a
Time is a flat circle.
I had a Christopher Nolan moment. Yeah, like he said, like when you're ready to get out, like no, I'm out, and like maybe I'll see you outside. maybe
Even a
not.
guy like Red who's not stoked to get out, like right, like I mean, that's weird. That's kind of a weird.
It's a long time.
It's
to
just a
be
weird
with
dynamic. I mean,
the
how
dudes.
long was Red in prison? Like
He gets
30?
out.
30 years.
I think it was 30,
Yeah.
right around
That's
30.
so fucking wild.
So no surprise that I don't have a whole lot of like serious body bags here, because for me it's pretty darn close to a perfect movie. But the thing that there's a little stretch that distracts me, and they're like real little plausibility things. So like there's no way that the warden suit fits Tim Robbins, because
No.
he was
call.
they would be
8 inches taller
They
than
would
him.
look like capris on him. Even allowing for like him like somehow like just undo the hem or something. I don't buy it.
I saw something about the heights that Tim Robbins 6'5" and that dude's 6'2", so it's not
6'2",
that-
really?
Oh, really?
not that different.
I didn't realize he was that close.
But they constantly film him a little bit like in
Okay.
different
Yeah.
angles
Here
to
and
like
there.
make him
Can we say how fucking evil that dude is? Like, I don't think
good.
we've addressed
He's terrible.
that. I fucking hate him so much.
See, that threw me for a loop because he starts off as kind of like somewhat kind. Like he's not. I mean, he's kind of a dick about Bible and stuff, but he seems to be reasonable
Yeah.
until all of a sudden you start getting
Until
all the
he
shit
tells
shit.
him, what's he say? What's he say? You're being obtuse. He fucking
Yeah.
makes
Or
a
am I
turn
being
right there.
obtuse?
He makes a turn when he calls him
Oh, yeah.
obtuse.
But in some
He
ways I
gets
love it because
turned.
it's like you turned. Yeah.
Straight turned.
So that part, and then Brad kind of made a reference to it, but I guess it's plausible that he saw that he chose the night partly because he knew the thunderstorm was coming.
Nah.
But I'm like, wait a minute, that's convenient. And then does he really break that pipe on like the third try with that rock?
And then the
What is
holes
that
all
pipe
of a sudden
made
like
of?
way bigger.
Exactly. So like he like breaks the pipe and all of a sudden he can fit through the hole. I'm like, wait, what?
And then it gushes immediately, so it was full
Full
enough
of shit, but then
and
there's,
then
like,
it's just
half
next
very, like,
cut is it's
empty.
So that little like tiny sequence,
Yeah.
I'm always a little bit like, oh, come on, really? Did we couldn't have figured something out there? But
Well, and I didn't realize there was such a huge ordeal about, and I actually thought this. I said it to the family as we were watching it. I said, how did he get the poster back on the wall so perfectly?
that's another one.
So my daughter, she
Brenna's
says
like, I don't like it.
she says
it's
no,
not
she,
straight.
She says that when he was digging the hole, he was like under the poster, and then it kind of flaps back
Yeah.
down. So she's saying that he just kind of went under
Crawls
the
in
flap,
and
and then it kind of flapped back down.
I believe it if he weighted it in some
I was
way.
thinking the same thing though. Wouldn't it roll up on him?
So my issue is solved by my streaming recommendation, which I'll talk about in a little bit, because it happens almost exactly the same way. But what happens is all you have to do is believe that Robbins goes through the hole like numerous nights in a row in order to cut the hole in the shit tube. Because when they make you believe that he does it all on that same night, it makes it unrealistic. So what
you
you
think
could
he's
believe,
prepped?
what you could believe is that he's already gone through the hole fucking 40 nights in a row and cut slowly the hole in the sewer pipe
Now he
so
just
that
has
he
to
can
hit
get
it.
into it. Exactly. Then he just has to pick the night that he's going to leave, which we'll get to it.
Okay. All right. So that's our body bags. We are
Streaming.
on streaming.
So
I'm gonna go first. So I believe it's Showtime. You can stream it. I had a guy at my work illegally download it and put it on a disc for me. But Escape from Dannemora. So this is a series
Ben
about
Stiller series, right?
Ben Stiller directed, which is like burying the lead because the direction of this and the acting and everything about this is fucking perfect, you guys. Like, I've already recommended it once on one of our earlier ones, but dude, it is so unreal. The tightness of the story. I believe it's 8 episodes. It's a true story. Ben Stiller directed. We're starring Patricia Arquette, Benicio del Toro, and Paul Dano. And Benicio del Toro and Paul Dano are escaping from prison. They do the exact same thing that happens, and this is a true story that happened in 2015, and they're doing exactly what happened in this movie. They dig through the wall. Once they get through the wall, they kind of climb down through the infrastructure of the prison, and they're into like the sewer system part of it. And they're doing exactly what he does, except for they do it over like 2 months. So they finally get through the wall, and then once they get in there, they're going in there every night, switching spots every night, and they're cutting through like this big metal pipe that they eventually get into, and that's how they escape from the prison. They end up escaping. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it is the most like spectacular real world. When you watch it, I have a brother-in-law that doesn't like anything. This fucking guy, he's like got a super like interesting perspective on stuff to me, but he doesn't like anything. Like everything he recommends to me is like, oh, this is really good until it sucks, and this is why it sucks. But this one he recommended to me and was like, I love this series. And when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, I can't find any flaws with it. So Escape at Dannemora, check it out. That's my streaming rec.
All right. I got, so it's a prison. It's a prison escape movie. There's been 2 movies made. It's Papillon. The first one was with Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman in 1973. It's streaming on Hulu, it looks like. And then I don't know why I turned it on and left it on. It's a pretty
You
downer of a movie. But I don't know if I remember watching all of the original Steve McQueen version. First of all, knowing that I didn't know it was a true story, first of all. An unbelievable true story. And the 2017 version with Charlie Hunnam and Rami Malek is a pretty damn good movie. Surprised the hell out of me. And I learned that the dude fucking lives through the escape. It's an unbelievable story. They escape off of Devil's Island, which is in the crazy, like I forgot where it's at exactly. It's like in the tropics. But I recommend actually the 2017 version of it. It's surprising. The story is unbelievable. Definitely an intense graphic downer until it ends.
Jax Teller and Freddie Mercury escape from prison.
Dude,
I'm in, bro.
Let's go.
All right, my stream is the first time that I got to see Morgan Freeman in a movie and was just like, okay, this dude's legit as fuck. And that was Glory. So one of his first big roles. It's an amazing movie, great film. Denzel obviously got the Academy Award for it, so it's a classic. Check it out if you've never watched it. Civil War, the 54th Regiment, and they are a bunch of badasses. It's a great movie.
It's so badass.
So on Netflix, you can find Shot Caller, which is,
Hell yeah.
if you like Game of Thrones, the Jaime Lannister characters. That actor plays a guy that ends up in prison, and it's
Wait, Jaime Lannister always looks very aloof and like.
No,
he's hardcore in this one.
He starts there and ends.
Okay, that's going to be an interesting one because I can't imagine him as looking like a tough dude.
He looks like a tough dude. Especially by the end, he's a total badass. And
He has both hands.
Most of the movie. Yeah.
Does he fight any bears?
So he's so it's a good one. And actually, as much as it's a prison movie, so it has that with Shawshank, but in some ways it's even a better like match for our discussion with Mike.
Yeah.
There's some things in there that Mike talked about that I'm like, oh shit, like that Shot Caller kind of had it right. So anyway, if sort of prison culture is interesting to you, definitely check out Shot Caller.
They don't shy away from violence, gore.
Oh, it's
the daily tension of fights and violence. Like
brutal.
They don't shy away from that at all.
Yeah. Be prepared. So that's all right. Okay, so we're down to the end here. We all we have left is to reshelf and alternate end. Mm-hmm. Does anyone have a reshelf or an alternate ending?
Got like a weak one. So I mean, Zach might be into it. It's a little twist, a little mind bender.
love it. All right.
Same story up until he goes into the 2-month in the hole. But then the movie ends. It goes to the end. It goes to the beach just like it did. It's all kind of like this kind of everything works out, the fairy tale. But then, boom, he wakes up in the hole and he's hallucinating in the hole. Oh. And then credits.
That's the dark ending.
That's hardcore.
God damn, that would ruin people.
I literally had that thought as he's laying there and there's like just a little bit of sunlight. I was like, oh, this is where his psychotic break comes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
It didn't screen test very well.
I've got an
94.
alternate. So you in the movie a little later. I'm actually in the movie a little bit earlier. My idea was just that Tommy is allowed to testify and gets Andy out, but Andy, like, basically the warden's like, okay, I'm only gonna let him do this, and he's like, look, I will not say anything. You know me. I will not say anything to anybody, but you got to get Red out. You got to let his probation go through and get Red out. So they get to have their little fishing adventure down in Mexico a little bit earlier with a little bit less bloodshed and chaos.
I kind of like the idea of him using some sort of like blackmail over the warden instead of. I mean, I like the idea that the warden kills himself. I guess I kind of like that he like uses that to his advantage a little bit.
Right, and he somehow was able to sneak out money. So like he was actually sipping on it. So once he gets out and he's gone, like they're gone to Mexico, he actually did get a bunch of money. He had some money that he had tucked away from all his little dealings with the warden and had enough to save up. It might not have been as much as he got through the regular ending. But
he obviously, after he gets out of prison, goes to the spot that he told Red to go to and put something there, right?
Oh, yeah.
But when he was in prison, like, so this was just like he's that forward thinking. Like he was thinking like, all right, I'm going to go there and do some shit.
It's not that long before he gets out.
But that's what I mean. Like
he's in the final preparations. Like I'm just about to get out of here.
night.
So that was part of his master plan was when he gets out, because he knows he's going to get out.
He's going to go there, put that glass there,
and leave him some money so he can get the bus fare and all that.
He's probably trying to figure out, well, where's a place I can tell him to go that is pretty out of the way where no one's likely to find it, but it'll be easy for him to figure out.
Well, that's why Red starts thinking he's like crazy. He's like, what the fuck's up with this guy?
This dude's my best platonic friend.
Stuff.
Right, I got you.
Anybody else? Train me? I mean,
I've got
alternates?
I've got two. So the one
Shawshank Till Dawn.
So Shawshank Till Dawn. So Andy gets out. So we see him. You know, he puts his hands in the air in the rain, and and one of the things I've always wondered is like where does he go? Like, where does he hang out in between the time that he it's the middle of the night and then he shows up at the bank the next day?
Does he end up at the Titty Twister?
So he ends up at a bar. He stumbles into this bar.
Cheech there out in the front steps.
You know, he's kind of sneaking around the bar. And
Cheech is so great.
He feels comfortable because it looks like a little bit of a questionable crowd, and then he goes in, and all of a sudden, vampires everywhere.
Oh, mother!
So he's got to fight his way out. So he prison fights his way out of this vampire bar. Goes, finds a little house, gets dressed in the warden suit, somehow adds 6 inches to the bottom of his pants. So that's one. That's Shawshank Till Dawn. So the only little tiny twist I thought about was in the note that he leaves Red. He says, you know, we had something in common. I never could share with you. Like I'm the other guilty man in Shawshank. And he actually did kill his wife.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, you know, if I could never admit it to myself even, but I'm finally able to tell you now that I'm out that I did it, and fuck that bitch. I'm glad she's gone.
I killed 10 other people. Let's make this business work.
I was so mad I killed some more people.
Let's go out on this boat.
Those are my alternate
So I already alluded to my alternate ending earlier, and my alternate ending is simply that Andy Dufresne buys a real boat that actually goes in the ocean that doesn't need a bunch of sanding and fucking. He's doing his best Danielson impression on it, and his fucking open fucking chested T-shirt, and he's just like fucking wax on, wax off. We're gonna fucking make the shit. And when I'm Morgan Freeman, if I show up, I'm like, bro, what the fuck?
I have to do work now. I actually have to work for this
he
shit.
Ain't even to waxing, man. He's like.
He's trying to just scrape the paint off.
Yeah. I mean, Morgan Freeman shows up and he just wants to fuck, dude. I mean, really? Are we being serious? He's like, I don't want to wax this boat. I thought we were going to wax that ass, dog. Sorry, guys. That's my alternate ending.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, hey, that's
reunited.
That was Shawshank Redemption, guys.
free.
Hey, Nikki, did you know that you're bringing up the next? I mean, 50 is a big number, but we're going to continue past 50.
51 sounds nice.
Oh shit!
Do you know what direction we're going with 51?
I do remember now that
this
you
isn't
just
the time to announce.
It's not.
This is episode 49.
We can't talk about it yet. We got to talk about that on the
That's a-
Drizzaf
Shit.
in the future.
There's a draft.
Cliffhanger starring Sylvester Stallone.
There's a draft that I'm
I
about
forget
to.
we're on episode 49 right now. We haven't even got to episode 50.
episode 50 coming out. on
Brad's
Thursday.
going on 49.
Yeah, so that was Shawshank Redemption. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, but just the important part is listen.
Go
Yeah,
watch
and
it.
chances
Go watch
are
the movie.
that none of them are like Brad. They've already seen it.
Yeah.
So just tell them to go watch it again.
And tell them to listen to the pod.
And folks, just think about this podcast. I mean, we're talking movies, but you're also going to get some interesting guests. You're going to get some interesting people giving some unique perspectives on things that maybe you have no experience with. So that's what we're
like
doing.
whether or not Brad would make it in prison. He wouldn't. So,
I'm actually disappointed. I thought I would make it. I really did. I was like, man, I'm going to be the toughest prison guy. And then fucking turns out I'm just a bitch.
Mike just immediately.
God, he
points
looked
at
right at
Brad
me in the
and
eyes
Zach,
and was like,
guys
you would
smoke
get
together."
fucked.
I'm like,
And
no
I'm like,
cheers,
God
no
damn
cheers.
it.
So you're like, God damn, why am I out here?
All right. Well, that's Shawshank. So on Thursday, you're going to get episode 50, and that is going to be our draft of the most memorable jail or prison scenes in movies.
And that's gonna be judged by a guy who's done a lot of hard time.
It's fitting. It's fitting that we have Scotch Beck on, both because he's been here since the beginning with BBK, so 50. It's appropriate that he's our guest judge, but yeah, also because he's done. He's been in the clink a fair bit. I think.
Yeah,
in his
fresh
life.
off a fucking adventure in Vegas. I can't wait to talk to him.
Well, yeah, the BVK, the IPA release. He went to jail that night.
Oh, well, yeah.
That was a little out of control.
He still hasn't gone to trial about that. We can't talk about that.
That's true. We shouldn't talk.
Val warrants.
Allegedly. Okay. All right. So we will see you guys on Thursday. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for being here with me for my favorite movie. I may not be back. This might be it for me. But,
You did great,
we'll
Nate.
see you guys.
Way to go out on top.
Bye-bye.
I wanna be at Beverly's, bringing me home with my movies. Just a blind ride, no reason why. I love this scene. Nick Nate's I can brag your favorite podcast. Let's start